One. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Got a few topics I want to run by you this afternoon. As always, it is certainly um, a political atmosphere indeed. Today is indeed the debate, the vice presidential debate day for the VP. Now, right off the bat, many might suggest this debate is of little to no relevance. But I will ask you folks, how do you feel about J.D. Vance taking on Minnesota Governor Tim Walz? So we got a senator from Ohio going up against a governor from Minnesota. Now, this is kind of where it normally is flipped on its head. You would normally think the Ivy League educated, like I said, the Ivy League schooler, you would think that would sound very liberal, and the blue collar rural guy would sound more like somebody from the right. But it's just the opposite in this case, folks. It is indeed Governor Tim Walz is the rural guy coming out of rural Nebraska, moving on to Minnesota, and for the most part being a blue collar governor in Minnesota. Whereas J.D. Vance is the one with the elite university education. So they're kind of mixed on that. But that could play a part, a very important part, in regards to J.D. Vance and his debating skills. My humble opinion, it should be an interesting debate. It won't be anything like, if you ask me, I don't think it'll be anything like Trump versus Biden, where Trump just destroyed former President Biden, or Trump versus Kamala Harris, where Kamala Harris got the best of him. I believe we're going to be looking more at two fairly seasoned debaters. I don't think either one of these men are going to go way off on the deep end. I think they both have been training for this, and they're more likely, referring to both of them, they're both more likely to listen to their advisors and pay attention to their training. So you're not going to have a wild card like you did with former President Trump, likely to say anything, or someone like Biden, who is aging and not necessarily able to maintain his thought process. You're not going to get any of that in this particular debate. So it should be more what we're typically used to before the Trump years. But who do you think might win? And better yet, what questions would you like to see asked to both of the candidates? You know, whether it's Tim Walz, you want to talk about the border, tampons in the boys' bathroom. Sure, there are people who want to know about that. And then, of course, with J.D. Vance, probably the number one topic is the Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs, because apparently that originated with him. But what other questions would you like to see both vice presidential candidates be asked? And as always, who do you think is likely to win it? Remember, Tim Walz has been in the political sphere for about 20 years. So he's had a lot of debates. I mean, he was a congressman for quite a while, and he's on his second term as governor. So Tim Walz, even though he doesn't have the Ivy League education of J.D. Vance, he's had a hell of a lot of debates. So it should be interesting. So that is our first topic. Talking about debate night, doesn't even matter what questions you would like to hear asked. But I want to talk to you about something else. Now, and we will get around to the fact that Iran has now decided to attack Israel. Doesn't sound like it did much damage, but in this particular era, we know Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, likes to kick ass. So just because those Iranian missiles didn't do much damage to Israel doesn't mean Israel's going to sit this out and not do some serious ass kicking in the nation of Iran. We'll see how that goes. But before we get to that, politicizing a hurricane. I'm going to talk to you about this, folks. Now, we know Hurricane, what was it, Helena, whatever the hell the last hurricane we just had, came up through the panhandle of Florida, rolled over Georgia, and really wreaked havoc in western North Carolina. President Trump on video stating that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden pretty much let down the people, the American citizens, during their time of need. Suggested that the governor of Georgia has been trying to reach out to Biden, perhaps for FEMA assistance and some federal aid, and that he can't even get in contact with President Biden. This is what Trump was stating. The same day, literally the same day, less than 24 hours later, Governor Kemp, who is a Republican, Governor Kemp of Georgia, immediately stated that's not true. He stated that he has been in contact with Biden and Kamala Harris. Biden told him, if you need anything, to call me on my personal number. And the governor of Georgia claims that Biden has provided so far everything they asked. So why would Trump indicate that Biden was doing absolutely nothing? We're talking about politicizing a hurricane. I want to ask you folks, is that crossing the line? I mean, right now we know there's over 100 Americans that have lost their lives due to that hurricane. Western North Carolina is in peril. They don't have even the basic essentials such as food and water, shelter, anything. Why would he step up and indicate that Biden and Harris are doing nothing for these people when they're dying? They still have yet to get into some of those rural areas and go through the rubble. It's expected to end up with a much higher death toll. So there's a lot of deceased persons that are still missing right now. Is this the time to play politics? I want to ask you folks that, because Trump is stating that, what did he say? Biden was on vacation, sitting in a lawn chair or something like that, or on the beach or something like that, indicating that Biden just let everybody down. And of course, as I said, the governor of Georgia and the governor of North Carolina both have stated that Biden is in contact with them and indeed has been providing assistance and aid. So why would Trump do that? We'll talk about that. Last but not least, I did mention the fact that Iran a few hours ago decided to retaliate against Israel. By all measures, not a lot of damage or casualties from what they did, but the nation of Israel has already stated they're going to respond. Now, we know, I think at this point, we know when you look at Hamas, Gaza, all of the Palestinian casualties, now we're talking about Hezbollah losing many of their high-ranking officials. We know Israel is heavy-handed in its responses. So I want to ask you folks, now that it's looking like we may be backing a major ally in a full-blown war, is perhaps Trump the best commander-in-chief to have during that time? Do you feel confident with Kamala Harris in there? Maybe perhaps Trump might be the best commander-in-chief during wartime. I want to ask you folks, who do you think would be better? Because they're going to have to do some negotiating. We're going to have to try to acquire a ceasefire. I mean, they're using American weapons on these people. So every time Israel launches an attack, might as well be coming from America if you ask the Middle East, because they couldn't do it without good old-fashioned American hardware. So what do you think? Trump or Kamala Harris during wartime? Those are our topics as always. You know how the program is ran. We are MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You'll hear comments left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. That's how it works. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section, including the host. Uncensored format. So looking in the comments, who funded the Iranians and built up their coffers? How far back do you want to go? Because America and Iran used to be allies. They have a lot of old aging F-14 aircraft that they purchased from us. So how far back do you want to go? Trump can't talk to Iran. They want him. That's a good point. Didn't think about that. Iran does have a price over the head of former President Trump. So if it does come down to trying to negotiate a ceasefire between Iran and Israel, I don't think Trump can't do the job. That's a good point, Renee. All right, looking in the comments though, the Middle East will not respect a woman president. They will try the hell out of us. I don't doubt that the Middle East, most of those nations in the Middle East are not going to be respective of a female president. But as Renee on YouTube stated, they don't like Trump. So a large portion of those nations aren't going to respect Trump either. So we're kind of in a conundrum there. Let me go to the box. I'd like to hear from you folks. By the way, politicizing a hurricane. Wow. What do you guys think about that? Kareem the Dream. Good afternoon, Kareem. Welcome to the program. Politicizing a hurricane. What say you?
That's what he do. You know that's what he do.
Is that crossing the line, or is that all fair and game in politics?
Everything about him is crossing the line. Since he came down on the Golden Escalade, it was crossing the line.
He got 74 million votes.
Biden got 81. What's the difference? He still lost. He's still a loser. Been a loser all his life.
Wait. You're saying that Trump has been a loser all his life? Really? I don't think that's accurate.
Handsome, you're a businessman. How many times you been bankrupt?
I don't want to go into my credit, but it ain't as good as Trump. I'll tell you that. I don't own a casino.
Okay, but did you have to go file Chapter 40? What it is?
Bankruptcy? No, but at the same time, hang on. No, but at the same time, most business folks that are at Trump's level play musical chairs with different businesses. Just because he filed bankrupt doesn't mean he doesn't have money. Maybe one business is not doing well. Go ahead.
Well, how you bankrupt a casino when all you do is have money in the casino? How do you do that, Handsome?
I'm not aware. Yeah, I'm not aware how a casino. I don't have an answer for why a casino would go bankrupt. But you don't see Trump as a successful businessman.
He's not good with money.
What?
He's not. Okay. So he gave $25 million to the assistants. So why didn't you take that same $25 million and pay your bond? You couldn't pay your bond, right, Handsome?
His bond was higher than that,
he had
wasn't
to go get somebody else to pay his bond.
Wasn't his bond much higher than that?
Well, you are a successful businessman. You should have had enough money to pay it. But you didn't. It came down to the last second and somebody stepped in and paid it for you once again. So quit saying that this is a rich man. He ain't rich. He's grifting his people once again because he know he's not going to win this election.
Wait.
He's just grifting.
So just to make sure I get clarity, you don't believe Trump?
$100,000 watch.
Hold on. So just to make sure I get clarity, you don't believe Trump is a successful businessman?
I do not at all. You got $400 million from your daddy and you squandered that.
Listen, I'm not going to say he didn't make a few mistakes here or there, but to say he's not a successful businessman, you sure you don't just have that? What do they call it?
Which business was a success?
His golf.
Was it the States?
His golf courses are not a failure. His hotels are not a failure.
Tim, they were a failure until he got president again. And what happened? He started making money because what did you do? You took the American money and every time you went and stayed at one of your golf courses, you 10 times charged the Secret Service. Hey, am I lying?
So you're saying that if Trump had not became president, what was he going to go completely bankrupt?
He was close to it.
I don't see that. The guy had a hit TV show, The Apprentice, that was on for several years. What would make you think he'd be close to bankruptcy?
Because he squandered all of it. He squandered it.
Got his own.
You couldn't pay. You couldn't pay what the court asked you to pay. Handsome, you couldn't pay it. Why couldn't you pay it?
Well, I'm not saying. Wait, hold on. When you say he can't pay what the court asked him to pay, I'm not saying he had 300 or whatever the hell Letitia James had 300, almost $500 million. I'm not saying he had that much, but what I'm saying is he wasn't a failed businessman, as you're stating.
Okay, so if I start a business and it doesn't work, then what is that? And isn't that a failure?
If you start multiple businesses.
Okay, well, what happened to Trump? What happened to the college? Was that a failure, or did he have to pay money for that?
The college didn't do too well.
Did he have to pay money for that?
Yeah, he did. The college didn't do.
Why did he have to do that, Handsome? Because what? He's a fair businessman, and he had another grift. It's just one more grift after another one. The $100,000 watch, but yet you go and you trying to sell right now, but yet you go and tell your people, well, they can't afford eggs. They can't afford gas.
Well, I don't have any answer for that. Why he's saying the economy so bad, people can't afford the basic essentials. And then you're right, he's selling this hyped up merchandise. Because I looked up a pair of them Trump shoes. I just like political memorabilia. I was gonna buy it when I saw the price. I'm like, nah, I ain't paying that much. So I don't have an answer for that.
What was it, $350 or $400?
But there's multiple pairs. But the cheapest pair, if you go to what is it? Get Trump.
You don't even have to say it. You don't have to say it. Don't say it. Don't give him no airtime.
Come on now. Come on. Wait. Are you just?
Don't give him none of that.
Are you just hating on Trump? Now it sounds like you just hating on Trump. You don't want me to say his website?
I do hate him. He hates Taylor Swift, so I hate him. Does he not hate Taylor Swift?
Okay, he did tweet out he hated it, but it sounded like you got Trump derangement syndrome.
So Trump, I hate your ass. And I'm gonna get off right here because I'm gonna say what everybody else thinking. I wish they would have got his ass. Bye, Handsome.
You didn't just say that.
I did. I wish they would have. I hope a third time come around. Now take that, maggots.
You're literally wishing death on just another human being. Why would you want that to happen?
Yeah.
Why? What is Trump? Wait, hold on. What the hell has Trump done? Wait, hold on. What the hell has he done that's so bad that you want him to be?
Mike Pence. Did he tell his when he heard his people talking about hang Mike Pence? Did he tell them not to hang Mike Pence?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Did he tell them not to? What did he tweet out? He tweeted out what? Mike Pence ain't gonna do what we said he gonna do. Then he deserved whatever happened to him. Am I right?
No, you're not right.
Come on,
you're
man.
wishing.
Right?
You're hoping.
He didn't tell him not to hang him.
Kareem,
he didn't tell him not to hang him.
Kareem, you just wished that somebody tried to take the man's life for a third time. There is no way I can say that is a good thing.
What you mean? He's talking about shooting the immigrants. He said one day.
All right. I'm gonna have to. Just for the sake of okay, true, but just for the sake of saving the damn program, I gotta move on before they take us all down. God, Kareem. God damn. All right, man. Appreciate it. Look, some of these callers can be a bit difficult to sift through. Wow. And I see in the comments, Honest Mechanic on YouTube says caller is on point. I'ma just do this one time. I don't want to say but I am going to do this one time just because I'm curious. How many of you hateful bastards are watching me right now? By way of yes or no, how many of you folks agree with my last caller suggesting that he hopes there is a third attempt on former President Trump? How many hateful bastards do I got tuned in that actually wants that that's horrible. Horrible. Let me look at it comment. Wow. Okay, there's most of you guys are sensibly saying no. Thank God. What is we're on wow, I can't believe that. Kareem, man. Wow, you kind of remind me of the scene. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Menace to Society where he looks down at his friend. Kareem, oh man, Kareem. Kareem. Damn. All right, look, let me go back to the box. Fortunately, most of my YouTube audience is saying no. I never agree with Tim Scott. Tim Scott's not on the program. That is funny, though. Blessed up, Kev. Wow, that was, I didn't expect that. A third attempt, hoping and wishing for it. Okay, prison is a better choice for him, says Cool Comment. Look, if he done something wrong criminally, jail, yes, but wishing that somebody take the guy out, damn. DJ Julio, appreciate the underwater graphic. By the way, folks, tap the screen. DJ Julio, always thank you for your support. Get the likes on up to about 20,000. Almost 500 of you in here on the backup page, so I do appreciate you folks tuning in. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 20,000. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. Do 30 if you really try. Top 3 dots on the right-hand corner of your screen. Get the likes up on YouTube. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone, as you can tell. We generally go left of Bernie Sanders Trump having dinner with QAnon. We let everybody speak. That's how free speech works. You're going to hear opinions you don't like. But at the end of the day, you don't have to agree with anybody in the damn comments or even the host. We do believe in uncensored free speech here. And if that's what you like, that type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Trump for back shots in prison, says that Trump. Oh, you guys are really, really mean today. You guys are really mean today. But he'll support Harris and her whole family. Used to own plantation with a lot of slaves, says WV. I don't know where to go with that. Bringing up that the ancestors of Kamala Harris used to own slaves, if true, is irrelevant. And I'll tell you why. If there was a Republican candidate running and you had liberals pointing out that 10 generations ago their family owned slaves, the right wouldn't give a damn about that. So why is it coming up on Kamala Harris? I don't know. Let me go back to the box. Wishing that the guy loses his life. Didn't expect that. DJ Julio. I always give my subscribers first dig. Good afternoon, Julio. I'm going to assume you heard that, DJ Julio.
You know what? That's that same fool. That's that same dude that fucking was like, I'm going to find Julio and I'm going to show him what's what. Remember a couple weeks ago that dude was trying to threaten me? You were like, we're not threatening people around here?
That was him?
Yeah.
I remember somebody, I remember someone having choice words for you. I didn't know it was him, though.
Yeah, it was Kareem the Dream. He actually went into my DMs later and was apologizing, saying he was having a bad day and he didn't mean what he said. So I let him have a pass on it. But it didn't surprise me that he would say something as ignorant as that, because it's clickbait. He's just trying to be known and be funny, and I respect
So
the game.
when you say he's being disrespectful and it's clickbait and he's trying to be funny, so you don't sincerely think he meant that. You just think he was just trying to get some attention.
Well, the dude said he was going to take me off this earth, and then he gets in my DMs 20 minutes later and apologizes. Man, he'd do the same thing to Trump, I bet.
Okay, so he'd apologize to Trump as well.
I would assume so, yes.
Okay, all right. Then that makes it feel a little bit better, because I'm like, damn, who would want? But I had folks in the comments. I asked how many of you folks agree with him. And there were a few. Thank God most of them did not. But there were a few folks that were wishing on Trump's demise in the comments as well.
Yeah. No, and what I'll do is I'll screenshot it for you. I see people not believing that he came through and apologized. I'll screenshot it.
We ain't got to go through all that. We ain't got to. Hey, listen. At the end of the day, we'll leave it at that. You don't have to go through all that. But what I do want to ask though is, apparently,
I don't think it was anything to do with campaigning. I think Trump and Elon Musk put together a great thing for all the hurricane victims. They brought trucks in for supplies. They brought gas in. They have a tanker coming full of gas for them. Trump, you guys are going to start to see that Trump is really, really a caring individual, whether he wins his presidency or not, because he's in the limelight he's in, I think he still stands by and does that kind of stuff come the
But
future.
why can't he do that without talking shit? Why does he have to suggest that Biden is on vacation when Biden is clearly in contact with the governor of Georgia and North Carolina? Why can't he be the good Samaritan you're talking about, which is awesome that he was doing that? Why does he have to do that while putting somebody else down in the middle of a disaster?
Well, in my opinion, I thought it was pretty shitty of Kamala and Joe too. I mean, Joe's on the beach, freaking taking vacation. Kamala's in the West Coast, freaking campaigning, and here's Donald Trump and a bunch of our millionaires and billionaires getting together, trying to help out the residents of the Warren, or not the Warren torn, but the freaking hurricane torn communities. I mean, why do you have time to go to the beach right now? You got your people in America. American people suffering, and you have time to go to the beach?
Well, what about the notion, and I believe that the governor of Georgia said this, that during times of crisis like this, they advise VIPs to stay away because they actually take up resources because they need all the police protection and things like that. Are you saying that President Biden and Kamala Harris should be on the ground in these disaster areas?
No. And the only reason Trump is on the ground is because he's not in the office. They need to be have their asses in that freaking White House or in a special room, pop up the tent, whatever you got to, and start making phone calls and getting these people taken care of. That's what they need to be doing. Not on the beach, not campaigning, not trying to smear a man who wants America first.
So what's to say that Biden can't do everything you said from wherever he's vacationing from? Is it just an image issue? Because we clearly know he has a phone.
No, because a lot of that shit that he's going to have to do, Tim, you would know as well as I know, is going to take a signature. If he's going to order FEMA, he's going to have to sign for it. If he's going to, or Kamala could sign for it, but neither one of them are in the office. So
you're going to tell me there's no way for somebody at Biden's level to have a digital signature or something? He has to actually physically be there and sign it with a pen? He can't be on the phone and say, I order you to do this?
Everything that I've read has to be done from the what's that? I just lost the name of it. It's the operation desk or the freaking, it's one of the desks in the Oval Office where he makes all of his official signatures, official statements. Not the actual Oval Office at the desk, but there's another desk that they sit at when they sign all these executive orders to get shit done right now. It's an executive order that's
So if the governor of Georgia or the governor of North Carolina says we need another 50,000 bottles of water or something like that, or we need some more FEMA tents or whatever, and he's talking to Biden on his personal number, and Biden says, I'm going to go ahead and authorize and send you what you need. You're telling me Biden can't do that unless he's somewhere physically signing something?
I'm not saying that he can't. I don't work in government, but what I'll tell you is from the shit that I've read, because I wanted to be somewhat prepared for something to talk about today. And when I saw that Trump went and did that, I started looking at where Biden was, when he was, why he was, where's Kamala, what does it take in order to order FEMA to do this stuff, the signatures that it requires. And everything that I read states that it comes from the White House. And I know he is the White House being the president, but my interpretation, the way that I understood it, was that he had to actually be in the White House to sign these papers.
Now Renee on YouTube, because I got folks in the comments saying that, listen, Trump used to do all kinds of shit from the golf course. Big thank you for the sub. And we know Trump did conduct business on the golf course regularly, but Renee on YouTube says Trump is great for comedy. I don't want to see him as a leader because the White House has already been in shambles. We've all seen it. How do you respond to folks who might suggest there was a lot of chaos when Trump was president? It was always one thing or another. Is that what we want to go back to?
Well, hopefully they realize that they can't get him and they can't keep him out of the office and they leave him alone. Listen, whoever was it? Renee, did you say said that?
Yes.
Renee, you are absolutely right. There was absolute chaos during Trump's president, and it was coming from the Democrats. It was coming from the Department of Justice. It was witch hunt after witch hunt after witch hunt, which we can see, like I said, he still has not been prosecuted to the full extent because he's still standing on his appeals.
Well, he ain't been prosecuted to the fullest extent because he's been trying to delay the hell out of that shit, and he's had a few.
It worked.
Yeah, well, yeah, it did. It cost me $1,000 for your ass, but also.
Yeah, goddamn right. Where's my 20 at?
We're talking about the Demi XY also on YouTube. I think you'll like this one. Says there is the punk tolerant left for you. As a Republican, I would never wish an attempt nor basically an assassination on Kamala Harris. And
Amen.
yeah, I don't favor that. I don't favor wishing that anybody gets taken out. So I think I think we're all
like we said, that dude's he's a troll. He's out here trying to get people to follow him so he can start his own lives. I mean, and like I said, I respect the hustle. I do not respect the player.
So what about this? I don't know if you've heard this yet, but Iran has decided to attack. I got a damn fly in here. Iran has decided to attack Israel. And I'm asking that question, considering this is in the Middle East, is it possible that maybe Trump might be the better commander-in-chief during wartime, simply because so many people are saying that the Middle East ain't gonna respect a woman? I think I know your answer, but I'll give it to you.
You goddamn right. You're damn right. And I don't think it's because of a woman. Listen, I think a woman could probably handle wartime situation fine. Kamala,
Why not?
She too much of a prosecutor. We're going to be in a dictatorship too quick, and we're not going to know what the hell she's doing, and it's going to cascade for us as Americans. And Kareem, I know you enjoy listening, but sometimes you say some off-the-wall shit, and it doesn't make you sound very smart. Much like myself, I say some off-the-wall shit that don't make me sound smart either.
Well, he's passionate. I don't favor what he said, but a lot of Americans have seen Trump continue to escape the justice system. They've seen what happened on January 6th. I mean, they've seen all of this stuff, and they're like, maybe the only way to get rid of this guy is for the unthinkable to happen. I think there's some folks who are just... Go ahead.
I want everybody to quit hating me for just 1 second.
That he did not hear from Trump for 4 days after that happened. Mike Pence, better yet, Trump did not care what happened to Mike Pence on January 6th, so it sounds like he may have been fine with the demise of his vice president.
Well, I would first check the source. I'd figure out where it came from, where this testimony came from. I would then look and see who's in their pockets, and then I would decide whether or not it was a valid statement or not. Because it's real easy for me to stand here and testify that Mike Pence came to South Dakota after that, and he was like, "Damn, I should have been held for that. I was treasonous. I should have absolutely done everything that I was supposed to." I can say that. Doesn't mean.
Whoa! You're telling me Mike Pence came to your state and actually stated that he should have did what Trump was asking?
But see how easy it is for me to make you think that? No, absolutely not. He did not.
Right. Okay.
No. What I'm saying is you got to check your source and figure out how true this actually is, that he actually said those things.
Well, when he says that. When he says that Trump did not check on him for 4 days after January 6th, is that really that hard to believe?
No, that's not hard to believe because they're out of office. Their term is done. Their time in the office is over. Why would I check if me and you were president and vice president, say I'm vice president, and our term is done, it ends in chaos. I wouldn't expect you, because we're not friends.
Wait, well, hold on. That's the whole issue about folks calling for the demise of former President Trump. You don't have to be friends to be humane. Somebody is threatening to take his life because you're not friends. You're not going to check on him. The guy who served as your VP for 4 years.
Well, let's be real about it. If something happened to Mike Pence, it would have been in the news, and he would have known right then.
So you actually believe it was okay after what that guy went through to not even check on him, not even call him up for 4 days?
Absolutely. After everything that Trump went through, there was no reason for him to check on Pence. You're 100% correct.
You almost sound bad as Kareem, dude. That's terrible.
No. I didn't say I wanted Pence hung. I'm talking about the checking in on him part. There's nothing wrong with not checking in on someone.
That's to me, that
Maybe he
sounds
just
horrible. Maybe you and I disagree on that,
well,
but
maybe
that's the guy who ran with you for 4 years, was telling people to elect you, was going from city to city singing the praises of you, and then somebody almost takes his life, and you don't give him the common courtesy to even check on him and
no
ask him, "Are you okay?"
nobody attempted to take Mike Pence's life. People were saying that he deserves to be hung.
Your
They were
supporters.
saying how they were saying how they felt. Let me finish, and then I'll let you have it back. Nobody physically touched Mike Pence. Nobody tried to unalive him with a pew pew. Okay, there was nothing that Mike Pence was in fear of. There's nothing. What was he afraid of? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So the Secret Service ushers him out through the basement because people were calling for his life, and they are all supporters of Trump. So these are Trump's people frightening the hell out of the Secret. Huh?
They ushered everybody out of the basement. All of the staff went to the basement. Tim, come on.
Yeah, and Trump should have actually addressed all of them. Every one of them.
He did.
No, he didn't.
He did. He came out and he's told everybody to go home. I said go home peacefully. He came out maybe 3 hours later, but flights.
Julio,
shit like
the only thing Trump did when he came out to address the American public is he spoke favorably of the folks that scared every damn body. We love you, go home. He's called it a good day. He's talked about pardoning them. Everything he has said was favorable to the folks who caused the ruckus, as opposed to any of the Senate or Congress or the vice president there that day. You think that's okay?
I think it's just fine.
All right,
Julio. Trump handled himself on Jan. I think that Trump handled himself
terrible.
Correctly. No, not even close. He did everything he's supposed to. As a politician, you got to shake the tree of liberty. And he did tell everybody to go peacefully. He did ask them to do everything peacefully several times, Tim.
Julio, they didn't go peacefully. Why the hell is he saying it was a good day? We love you and all. Why is he saying all this shit? They didn't go peacefully.
Because during his little speech when they were talking, everything was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. It's after that where it went bad. And yes, the left is always trying to gaslight this situation. So thank you for saying that.
All right, Julio.
Mr. Paul, thank you for saying the left is gaslighting a lot of stuff. I appreciate you for that.
Julio, we obviously don't agree on shit today, but thank you for coming through as always, man. Good talk.
Hey, you didn't tell me who you're voting for yet.
Talk to you later. Gotta go. All right, moving on with the program. I can't. Both of my first two callers. Like when I say free speech, when I say we go left to Bernie Sanders, Trump having dinner with Cuba, we damn near did it with the first two callers. Those two callers could not be further apart if they tried, but their message was kind of similar. Both of them had the fuck around and find out kind of vibe. I don't give a dairy if I can get it out. A lot of those type of statements were made before Trump said go peacefully and patriotically. But I guess we don't supposed to count what Giuliani or Steve Bannon or Flynn, we supposed to ignore all of that and just focus on go peacefully and patriotically. They were speaking, let's have trial by combat is what Giuliani said. Not to mention, as I pointed out with my last call, they're talking to a crowd that's literally yelling, hang Mike Pence. What makes you think that crowd is going to be peaceful and patriotic? They're already talking about taking the life of the vice president. We should ignore all of that and just focus on the peaceful and patriotic. Let me go back to the box. These first two callers, damn, I did not expect that. Top Dog, good afternoon. Wow. Welcome to the program. Top Dog, good afternoon. Top Dog, are you there? All right, apparently he's not. We'll continue on. Real quick in the comments, Ricky for real. Oh, Ricky, he's so fine. He really, really blew my mind. Hey, Ricky, how long did it take for the current administration to go to East Palestine? That's a good question. That's the whole railroad mayhem that happened, and they hammered the Biden administration for that. They did hammer the Biden administration for that. In my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong on this, I'm not saying this to defend Biden or bash Trump or any of that. In my opinion, if there is a catastrophe in an area, send me help. I don't give a damn about the visit. If I can tell you what's happening in my weather-ravaged area, you're the president, you believe what I'm saying, and you send me FEMA assistance like I may need, I don't care if you visit or not. At the end of the day, that's just simply for the TV cameras. Like when George W. Bush flew over Hurricane Katrina. Now, he didn't do enough. George W. Bush took too long. But if you send the assistance, I don't really give a damn if you come. As they stated, when the VIP comes to the area, you take away a lot of resources because everybody got to be focused on protecting your ass. You don't need to be here. Just make sure the assistance gets here. So pointing out that Biden took too long to go to East Palestine, Ohio, if the question should be, how long did it take for the assistance to get there? The actual commander-in-chief don't need to be there, in my opinion. DJ Julio it says Fulio, though. Top Dog says, playing on my last caller, DJ Julio, says DJ Fulio doesn't believe the bullshit that's coming out of his own mouth. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Top Dog. I don't know. I think he does believe what he's saying. All right, let me go back to the box. By the way, tap the screen. Hell of a lot of lazy thumbs in here. We run a decent program. I know the collar looks like shit today. I get it. But I can't get 20, 30,000 likes by now. Tap the damn screen. Let your thumbs not be lazy. I'll iron the shirt tomorrow. I've been working all damn day. By the way, smash that like button on YouTube as well. Get us on up to about 50. We can certainly do that. This administration did not throw paper towels, says Cedric. Remember the whole Puerto Rico thing? Trump's throwing paper towels at the crowd. That is true. That is true. Thank you for hitting that like there, blessed up Kev. They always bring up East Palestine and ignore Trump's deregulation and roll back the efforts to modernize train industry. And that is true, is that Trump has talked about getting rid of three-letter organizations, getting rid of government oversight and regulation. Well, if he does that, there will be more East Palestine Ohios, because that was a toxic train with only 2 employees on it. You know, they done already got rid of cabooses and all of that shit. So there's nobody in the back of the train. You have an engineer, and I don't know what the other person is, but that's it. That's it. On a long-ass train that's, maybe a mile or 2 long or whatever, however long those things are, and you got like 2 people on there. That's not enough if you're bringing toxic chemicals through populated neighborhoods. But getting rid of regulation has made it so that's possible. They no longer have to have multiple people on there. So that is a good point that could be brought up, because that came from former President Trump. I don't believe nobody's trying to off Trump. I believe it's all a PR style. You think there was 2 hits on Trump. You believe both of those are PR stunts? No. First of all, in the first attempt, somebody died. That wasn't a PR stunt. I don't think either one of them are. I get it. People are going to think that, but in the first attempt, somebody lost their life. And they found a hell of a lot of evidence to suggest the second attempt was planned as well. I don't think it was a PR stunt. I don't buy into that. All right, let me go back to the box. Thanks some of you folks that are tapping the screen, helping out with the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. Michael, good afternoon, Michael. Welcome to the program. The body is missing. What body is missing? One of the assassins? What do you mean one of the guys still alive. What do you mean the body's missing? Michael, good afternoon.
What's going on, Tim? Hey, man, I keep losing brain. Don't give me a couple of smart motherfuckers before you bring me up after DJ Julio, please. I mean, man, listen, I'm gonna get back to your topics, but this is for DJ Julio. January 6th did happen. He put Mike Pence's ass out there. I've been saying it every time I come up. Go read the indictment. The indictment says it. On December 23rd, they had a memo titled Operation Pence Card, which was falsely asserting that vice president could overturn and unilaterally disqualify legitimate electors. That's a fact. It's in the indictment. When he did not do it before January 6th, Trump called him and told him that they knew it was illegal. They knew he couldn't do it. You just got to just do this. When he didn't do it, they got extra security for Mike Pence. It's in the indictment. If you just fucking read for 1 second, it's online. It's right there, and it's been corroborated by those other co-conspirators, John Eastman, Rudy Giuliani. That's why their ass is all in trouble. So all Julio got to do is read a little bit. That's it. Now, if he wants to say that wasn't a quote unquote hit on Mike Pence or his life wasn't in danger because nobody touched him, then that second attempt on Trump, he wasn't in danger because nobody touched him either. See how the bullshit comes out?
That's a good way of putting it. That's interesting.
Of course. You know why? Because it's fucking common sense, Tim. That's all it is. It's just fucking common sense. You know, everything's a witch hunt, but you name me another rich white man in America that has been, quote unquote, falsely persecuted for all these crimes in the history of this country. I'll wait.
Yeah,
because you're not going to find it. Because you're not going to find it. So we got to just stop talking about all this stuff. When Trump gets on TV talking about essentially purging people yesterday.
That's scary. Just real quick for folks who don't know what you're talking about, the purging, where he's stating that he believes that you could really bring down crime if you allowed the police, what do you say, 1 hour to be really rough, really violent. So essentially you could either do a lot of physical damage to a shoplifter and or take their life. And he did state that, you know, he believes that would bring down crime if the police were allowed to do that.
And he said, we know all the cities, we know where all the gangs are, right? So who is he talking about? Now, you couple that with total immunity. You couple that with stop and frisk. See, that's what I'm saying. These people are losing their damn mind. And no, that's not bullshit, DJ Julio, unless you don't have a fucking TV, but you can get your ass on this live every day, but you can't look this stuff up in 30 seconds.
Well, I will say my own personal analysis, and I like to give both candidates, you know, and listen, I may lean left on some shit, but I like to give both candidates at least some fair shake. But he does seem to be targeting cities where it's going to be predominantly people of color. He's talking about stop and frisk, giving police immunity, letting them beat the shit out of people. I mean, he's targeting areas where the cops in areas with people of color are going to have immunity, be able to stop and frisk, violating their Fourth Amendment. And if things get out of hand, for the most part, take their lives. He does seem to be targeting people of color.
He is targeting. And by the way, everything him and J.D. Vance are saying are in Agenda 47 of Project 2025. All of it. All of it. You keep connecting dots, but then you say that there's nothing to connect them. It's just foolishness, Tim. That's just the bottom line. Now, you were talking about who's best.
During the potential war, if war breaks out in the Middle East, which to some degree it kind of already has, is Kamala Harris the right person to have in there, knowing what the Middle East, knowing what people in the Middle East, just the Muslim religion in general, seem to think of women? Is she the right person to have as our commander-in-chief?
Well, of course she is. And number one, because the other idiot is completely unstable, but they act like she's going to go over there with her pocketbook and fight. She's the president of the United States with the largest military. You know, it's so stupid, man. It's like, you know, she would be the commander-in-chief, right? So all the military, right? So she would have everything at her disposal that Trump would have. However, what she has that he does not have the temperament to have those discussions. They don't need to respect her as an individual. They need to respect the United States. Because who says they don't respect him? If we're listening to what we're talking about, they've been trying to kill him or unalive him. So what are we talking about? You got to make it make sense sometimes. Sometimes people get on here and just spew stuff. And another thing, Biden actually called it a state of emergency before the hurricane even hit.
I did hear that.
Working with FEMA before it even hit. That's for you, DJ Julio, that don't know what the hell you're talking about. They had already met. When Trump gets on TV and lies again and says that he couldn't even reach the president, and then Kemp gets up and goes, well, actually, I talked to him.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit, man.
Why do you
It's
think
distraction.
Why do you think Trump, during the middle of a weather disaster like this, basically a catastrophe, because they still haven't found all of the missing people, the death toll is undoubtedly going to increase. Why would he take this moment to try to bash Biden and say that he's vacationing or he's not? And you're right. Governor Kemp of Georgia stated that Biden has been in contact with him, providing him everything he needs. Why do you think Trump would take this moment to do that?
Because his supporters just take what he says and they run with it, and that's all he needs. There's no fact base behind it. You know, he talks about Biden being on the beach, and then Julio's talking about he needs to be in the White House. Like this is in 1921, and now you got to run it by the damn horses and pigeons and shit. Like he ain't got a cell phone no matter where he is. Yeah, I know you're laughing because it's fucking idiotic, Tim. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I gotta admit, I did find a chuckle with that, suggesting that like you said, in 2024, the only way the president can approve something is to physically sign it. You can buy a house by using, what is it, U-sign on documents? Because I've done it.
Yes.
I've done it. So
yes, you don't need it. It's so stupid, man. You see, sometimes you got to laugh at this. The last thing I'm gonna say before I go, their candidate, Trump, I call him Lenny from Good Times because he always selling. He got a watch here. He got some sneakers here. He got a silver coin with very little silver in it. Ain't nothing but Lenny from Good Times. It's some bullshit, man. What other president was hawking shit? Can you tell me another president that was in a press conference? And right now, you can get my barely silver coin for $19, a limited edition, and you go online and it says unlimited.
Yeah. He's doing well with the merchandise.
Seen this? This is such buffoonery, man. It's so stupid.
Be cautious. You may be talking about your next president, Michael.
Well,
I gotta go.
Hey, all right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Anytime. And what really, some of you folks probably don't know the joke. Lenny from Good Times. Some of you, the guy opens up his coat and he got all these fucking watches and he holds sleeve full of what. Anyway, Lenny from Good Times. All right, look it in the comments. DocuSign. Yeah, that's what it's called. You can do all sorts of shit with DocuSign. Whether it is completing a job application. Like I said, I've bought a home. I've actually signed closing documents when I was buying investment properties. I've bought properties with DocuSign. You're going to tell me Biden has to be physically in a location to sign something with a pen? We can hope. Remember Trump would sign things and hold up the document on TV for the cameras? I don't tend to think that is absolutely necessary in cases of disaster. My guess is there are people who have the authorization to act on behalf of the president. If he says, if this guy shows up and the president he tells you the president is giving me authorization to do this, he can do it. That seems to be kind of archaic in 2024. Anyhow, going back to the box. By the way, tap the screen. This is Uncensored Programming. As always, it is your boy Tim the Handsome Liberal. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You don't have to agree with any damn body here, including yours truly. That's how free speech works. That's what you favor in political conversations. You're in the right place. Follow the program on TikTok. A subscription on YouTube, if you will. We're here Monday through Friday. Trump knows his base, says Ruan Shi. That is true, and that's a good thing, though. That is a good thing. I think that if Biden or Kamala Harris were better at talking to their base, their poll numbers among their base would be better. So I'm not going to take that away from Trump. Even if you want to say he's not honest or whatever the hell you want to say about him, it is important for any political candidate, any politician to know their base. That's actually a accolade, in my opinion, for Trump. Inflation is a global issue. Don't forget that, says Gusling. Yes, it is, but that ain't gonna work in political theater. I always say this: when you are the coach of a team, all the wins and losses you get credited for. If the team is losing, the coach don't get to blame the quarterback. If the team is winning, the coach gets the Gatorade thrown on him, even if he made bad calls and somehow special teams won the game anyway. He gets credit for it. So you get credit for all the wins and losses, no matter what's causing them. So you can't get up there and say, yeah, shit looks like crap, but you know what's happening globally. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work, even if it's true. All right, looking in the comments, so it's good to lie to your base. No, I don't favor lying to your base, but I'm not gonna pretend like that is something that is unique to Trump. Remember Joe Biden? If you elect Mitt Romney, he's gonna put back in chains. He knew who he was talking to. Do you look back on history and think that Mitt Romney was trying to get the job of commander-in-chief to put people in chains? He was lying. Joe Biden was lying. But he knew the base he was talking to. So I'm not gonna fault Trump for doing things that other people have done as well. You could buy a blowjob from Kamala with DocuSign, Gen X. No one else on this damn program could say something like that. God, I actually read that before I realized, I always read the super chats. So I'm gonna read the super chats no matter what. Now, see your comment there, Vlad Stein says I'm weak. Sometimes, because the super chats on YouTube, they come up in color. So you guys make these donations. I'm going to read your comments because they stand out more than anybody else. But sometimes I make the mistake of reading some shit before knowing what the shit is I'm reading. He stated you could buy a blowjob from Kamala Harris with DocuSign. Oh my God. But I'm assuming that there are call girls out there that probably is true. I mean, if you dial up the number. You ever been in Vegas? I'll go back to the box right now, but before I do, remember back in the old days, you go to Vegas, they used to hand out these little playing cards with pictures of hoes on them, call girls. They don't do it anymore, but they used to. And it would be a phone number on there. So you could dial the number and she'd come to your room or whatever, but you got to have the arrangement already made. So I don't know, maybe you could use DocuSign to pay her off before she gets there. I don't know. Anyway, let me go back to the box. I'm in Vegas now. They still hand them out. They do? Nikolai, they actually still do that? Wow. I didn't know that. Last time I was in Vegas, they weren't doing it. I haven't seen it the last few times I've been out there. I didn't know they still do that. But I do see the comments. Tony also says, yes, they still do it. All right, for my Vegas veterans. Anybody ever dialed the number? Let me go back to the box. Tap the screen. We're about to make it happen with one of my other subscribers there, Harry Shilson. How do I always miss that? Good afternoon, Harry. Welcome to the program. I'm really hoping it lets you come through. The box is acting flaky today. Well, Harry, I'm trying to bring you up. We'll give it a moment. Vlad Stein, which is more important to vote on, fill-ins or tried policies? Depends on the policy, depends on what you're in your feelings about. I mean, some policies are really important. Others, it is what it is. So depends on the policy. I know I'm not answering that question the way you want. I know where you're going with it, but it depends on why you're in your feelings, and it depends on what let's say, for instance, now I'll give the box a chance to reset because it doesn't look like it's going to bring Harry up, but I'll concentrate more on Vlad Stein's statement. One of the biggest issues when Trump was president, vote based on his policies, get out of your damn feelings, fuck your feelings, all of this stuff. I could go for mean tweets and $2 gas. In other words, the policies are so great, you shouldn't be focused on your feelings. Here's what I've always been saying. I've always said this, particularly to the right, my beloved MAGA, this is aimed at you. I would submit to you that Obama, Biden, let's say Kamala Harris even, could give you the exact same policies of former President Trump, same economy, in global affairs, all of the things you favor from former President Trump. But if one of those liberals was constantly belittling and attacking Christians and gun owners, I don't think you guys would overlook it. I don't think you would be voting based on policies and ignoring your feelings. I think the reason it is so easy to ignore Trump's rhetoric, his insults, his tweets, is because they're not aimed at you. He's not talking about you. He's not attacking any cause or principle you care about. But I do believe that if you had a liberal president in there giving you all of the greatness that you perceive you were getting from Trump, but they were bashing the hell out of Christians and gun owners, I don't think the right would ignore it. I don't think they would say, listen, you know, I could go for some anti-Christian rhetoric and $2 gas. I think you would be criticizing and trying to vote the guy out of office the same way the liberals are. So that hopefully that kind of answers the question about voting on your feelings based on policy, or voting, what do you say, which is more important, to vote on feelings or tried policies. There is a way to piss people off. I mean, I don't care if you are doing things that you perceive are really good for the people. Everybody ain't gonna sell themselves out like that, because that's exactly what you're doing. If you're willing to let somebody belittle you and talk shit about you and embarrass the hell out of you because they put money in your pocket, what's the difference between that and selling out? That's kind of what a sellout is. You'll let whatever be done as long as you can make a few bucks out of it. That's a sellout. Everybody ain't gonna do that. So I just want to run it by you like that. All right, continue on with the program. I don't know what happened. Wait a minute. What did I see here? I said FKH. What does that mean? Fuck Kamala Harris. First, I thought it said FOH near Ricky Rush Rivera. I thought it said FOH, like fuck out of here, what you doing? It said FKH. Fuck Kamala Harris. But I will tell you this. One of the things that is beneficial to Kamala versus Biden, a lot of that stuff was really effective on Biden. Sleepy Joe, he's falling down everywhere. Let's go, Brandon. Fuck Joe Biden. That shit ain't working on Kamala Harris. It's really not. I mean, I understand why you would do it because it was so successful on the last guy, but most of that stuff is not sticking. Even the whole socialism thing is not sticking the way it used to, which is why now they're calling them communists. You know, what are they calling her? Comrade Kamala. He's still kind of finagling what insults might work. I think most Trump supporters, my beloved MAGA, you kind of wish you were running against Biden because you had tried and true tested methods to beat the hell out of him with. That stuff ain't working on Kamala. It really isn't. At least not yet. That's not to say it might not eventually, but you only got like 30 days left. That stuff is not sticking like that. And I see somebody said FDT, fuck Donald Trump, is sticking. All right, let me go back to the bottom. So try it again. Purple Lion. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. If it brings up, you know what Trump calls you. What does Trump call me? Grateful head, not dead. Grateful head. I've been in a position like that. It was really good. All right, Purple Lion. Good evening.
Good evening, Tim. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Hanging around like Mike Pence on January 6th is what I always say. So, how do you...
Just swinging from the ropes is what you're saying?
Hey, anything for MAGA, man. Anything for MAGA. So, what do you think? Politicizing a hurricane. Politicizing a hurricane. What say you?
They politicize it too much. It's politicized on both sides way too much. It's FEMA and that entire organization that really controls all that.
So why do you think Trump would suggest that Biden has let everybody down? He's on vacation. He's not working with Georgia. He's not working with North Carolina. He's doing nothing. Why do you think he would say that when people are still the body count is still being totaled? They don't even know how many people died yet. And he's out there saying that. Why do you think he would do that?
Because Trump doesn't think when he opens his mouth.
You think he'd make
That's how he is. That's how he's always going to be.
Well, do you favor him for commander-in-chief?
Over Kamala, yes. Unfortunately, there's not much to choose from, but worse of the two evils, in my opinion.
So you do see him as better than Kamala, but you're calling him the lesser of two evils. So there was like 9 other candidates several months ago, from Vivek to Ron DeSantis to Chris Christie. Would you have favored any of them over Trump? Nikki Haley was in there.
I was favoring Chris Christie.
Wow.
That's who I wanted.
Wow. Shit. Chris Christie, huh?
Yeah.
You the first person I've
Yeah.
ever...
I was favoring him more than anybody else.
You know, I actually think Chris Christie would have... I think Nikki Haley, too. I think Chris Christie would have beat Joe Biden. I really do think that.
Yes. Yeah, he would have. And to touch on something else, on Kamala Harris and the Middle East, it's unfair to her, but the Middle Eastern countries would look down on her because she's a woman. It's not fair. I will say that, but that's the reality of that culture.
So should we,
regardless if it's from the United States and the biggest army ever.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the Middle East is always going to be like that. So should we just never elect a female president because they're always going to look down on any woman?
Not to never elect them, no. But it is going to favor the male over the female just in the Middle East, not the rest of the world.
Right.
You can't just decide a president just because of one section of the world. But unfortunately, the way that culture is, that's the way you kind of have to face it.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can't change them.
And I agree that culture is going to be like that, but I don't think it should play a part in our elections at all. If they don't know how to respect a woman, then we need a woman that can show them what happens when they don't respect her. I mean, you just put in a strong woman and let the chips fall as they may. But I want to run this one by you, because you're saying that Trump is the lesser of two evils between him and Kamala Harris. Will G on YouTube says, personally, I am better off than I was 4 years ago. People were stuck inside and dying sick because of an orange buffoon's incompetence. Of course, January 6th, but of course, MAGA won't acknowledge any of that. How do you respond to folks who will say that 4 years ago from today, we were dealing with a pandemic that many believe was not properly managed under Trump? And that answers the question of, were you better off than you are 4 years ago? How do you respond to that?
It's pretty easy. It doesn't matter who was in office during the pandemic. We would all come out not as well. Because that is something that you cannot prepare for. You cannot be... You're talking hindsight 2020.
Hold on.
If it was Joe Biden, Clinton, anybody else in that office, we would have still done bad. And it's hard to judge something that after the fact you think somebody's going to do a better job.
Wait a minute. Trump told us
January 6th. Well, Trump's just an idiot.
Wait, hold on. But let's stick with let's deal with the pandemic first. Trump told us very early on during the pandemic that it would be gone by April. You think any candidate would have said that? Anybody would have got up there and said that with no evidence at all? Just said it would be gone by April.
Nobody knew what was preparing. And everybody's going to say something different. Just like Trump wanted to close the outside travel in the United States at the beginning of it, and Joe Biden did not.
But
there's two different perspectives.
But are you hearing what
no matter who was in there?
Wait.
Democrat, Republican, or Independent.
But are you hearing what I'm saying? Trump stated that the virus will be gone by April. Clearly, no virologist, Dr. Fauci, or no one else is telling him to say that, while people are still dying from what was an unknown illness at that time. Why the hell would he get on television when nobody knows what's going on and tell the people it'll be gone by April?
Because, like I said before, when it comes to being around the media, his mouth doesn't know what to say. He's an idiot. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah, but you stated...
He can't control his mouth when it comes to media and big crowds.
Yeah, but you stated that anybody in there would have likely had a bad outcome with the pandemic. It wasn't just Trump. You think Clinton or Obama or Kamala or Biden would have done something like that? Would have got up there and told the people a flat out lie based on no science at all that it'll be gone by April?
No. What they say in public and how the organization reacts to the pandemic is what I'm talking about. Trump's going to say stupid crap no matter what. You can't control that. Okay? The other people would have known what to say. But the outcome, the total outcome of the pandemic would not have varied as much. Nobody would have came out pretty after that. We'd all come out ugly. And we all did.
I understand that, but you do realize giving people information that is that bad based on no science at all that could get people killed because people may not take it seriously, thinking it's going to be gone in a few months. I mean, he could have got people killed saying that.
How many people actually listen to the government, though?
How many people got vaccinated? At least half the country listens to the government. I think that's a good question, because I'll tell you this: when you say how many, hold on. When you ask the question of how many people listen to the government, fact is, when you look at the pandemic and the people who were taking the advice of the government versus the people who were not, the people in the not category are overwhelmingly followers of Trump.
Maybe, but let me put it to you this way.
Maybe.
I did not get vaccinated. I did not get COVID again. Both my parents got vaccinated, and they both got COVID twice after that.
Well, I've been vaccinated and boosted every damn time they've told me, except the last one, and I've never had COVID, so I don't know. I can't speak on it, but I'm just simply saying, regardless of what's going on, I do believe whoever is in the White House, they should at the very least give a unified message. Going on television with Dr. Fauci and letting Fauci tell people about social distancing and wearing masks, and letting him speak to the American people while you're standing next to him, then holding rallies at night and saying he should be fired, makes no sense at all. On television, you're letting him talk to the people like he knows what the hell he's talking about. But then at night at your rallies, you're saying he doesn't and need to be fired. Is that the sign of strong leadership?
Let's put it this way. Trump is a dumbass when it comes to that stuff. But what it all comes down to, he is guilty of January 6th. He's got a lot of guilt from all these felony charges or whatever. But the fact is, under Trump, we had a better economy. There was more peace because at least he attempted, like he went and visited North Korea, even though people didn't like that.
There was a time when taxes on corporations used to be higher, and when they lowered taxes on corporations, I don't recall the citizens, the workers of this country, bragging about how great things are. But if you go back in history, 60s and the 1970s, taxes on corporations were significantly higher than they are now. So the corporations have gotten lots of tax breaks over the years, and I don't see where the employees have benefited from it. But everybody says if you raise taxes on corporations, the employees are going to suffer. Why didn't they pass any of the benefits on when they got the tax breaks?
Because when it comes to corporations, if they get a tax break, that increases their profit. They're not going to pass that on to the consumer. They get a 10% break on taxes, oh, great. They're not going to get 10% more profits. Everything stays the same. But if you raise taxes by 10%, just a number, I guarantee you corporations will not take that hit. They will pass that 10% on to the bottom line to keep their margins up.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with
the taxpayer. The basic consumer is going to pay for that.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you, but what you just did is made it clear that trickle-down economics do not work. You just made it clear that if the upper half benefits, they're going to view it as profit and keep it. They're only going to pass it on to the consumer when it's bad. Pass on good, they only pass on bad.
That's right. You just leave it the same, because if you lower it, consumers are still not going to feel it. You raise it, the consumers will feel it, and that's just a part of economics and capitalism. That's just the way it is.
So then, when Trump gave the corporations,
like it or not.
so then when Trump gave the corporations a tax cut, they viewed it as profit, and we didn't feel it at all. Is what you're saying?
Exactly. 100% agree with that.
All right.
Yes.
Fair enough. There is a delay. I got to move it on Purple Line because there is a delay between us, but certainly always a pleasure. Come on back anytime, man.
It's because I'm doing the job you used to do, Tim. I'm trucking it.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. Make that money, man. Make that money. Talk to you later. All right. Moving on with the program. This Republican Party. By the way, I was a expediter in a van. I didn't drive a semi. I was in a van, but I did haul freight in that van all across the country. Some of you folks may be familiar, Hot Shots or whatever it's called, but yeah, 6 skids or whatever, but I did it over for a few years. Will G, a great economy set up by a black man and a white woman. Wait a minute. A great economy set up by a black man and a white man takes credit for it. Like history always told us. Now he's suggesting that Obama is the responsible for the great Trump economy, but Obama being a black man gave us a good economy and a white man is taking credit for it. And he's saying that has a historical norm to it where black people have done things great and whites have taken credit for it. Will G, Ricky for real, Will G, the CDC, Center for Disease Control, got it wrong. We all know that now. They didn't get everything right about COVID. I don't disagree with that. They didn't get, but at the time, you didn't know. And by the way, I'll tell you this. We can point and suggest that the FDA or the CDC didn't get everything right about COVID, but there's a hell of a lot of folks out there that were suggesting that the vaccine was poison. They didn't get shit right either. I had somebody straight up tell me, this individual I know is strong MAGA. We talk all the time still, friend of mine. Now, I'm not saying this is something that is the norm for most MAGA, but he told me I would be deceased in 2021 because I had got vaccinated earlier that year. He told me in about 6 months, most of the people that got vaccinated would perish, and I was one of them. There's a lot of folks that were saying that the vaccine was poison and you were going to lose your life for taking it. So we can talk about the CDC getting shit wrong, but the other side was getting stuff wrong too. Will G, how many viruses have we been through to not be prepared? We have the Center for Disease Control for a reason. Now, I read those comments backwards, but that is true. I want to say it like this, okay? True enough, during the pandemic, the CDC, the FDA, the World Health Organization, they didn't all get it right. True, it's a novel virus. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. However, I want to say it like this. I would much rather trust the likes of Dr. Fauci than Trump or somebody else who has no medical background at all, even if they possibly may be wrong. Perfect example I'll say is it like this. Let's say you're sitting on a commercial flight, going on vacation somewhere. All of a sudden, the plane is, you're on a 747. The plane is going in a straight nosedive. You're about to crash. The steward says, is there any pilots on board? Our pilots have been incapacitated. Is there anybody on board that know how to fly a plane? Some guy raises his hand and says, I'm not trained on 747s. I fly 787s for Southwest Airlines. In my opinion, that's the best chance you got. Okay, he don't know exactly everything about a 747, but he knows aerodynamics. He knows the science of flight. He knows somewhat where the controls are oriented. As opposed to just taking a random guess, I'm going to go with this dude. Fauci is that dude. That's the role of Dr. Fauci. He may get in there and the 747 may actually crash. He may not save us. But compared to everybody else on the plane, he's the best option. That's how I view Dr. Fauci. Maybe he didn't get everything right, but he is the guy responsible for curtailing the HIV epidemic. He successfully did that. So he landed a couple seconds with me, but yeah, it is freezing on YouTube. Maybe it's the location I'm in transmitting right now. So I don't know what I can do. Hopefully it maintains for the program, but yeah, it is freezing a little bit. Maurice, so yeah, we have a few people trying to get in, so it can be like that.
But yeah, the first guy, I don't know if it was the second, Julio, how you pronounce his name?
Julio, DJ Julio.
DJ Julio. Man, he was talking about the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, okay. Trump had the heads up.
From Obama.
When he first came into office, Obama passed that over to Trump, letting him know that there's a pandemic on the way. So keep the pandemic team intact. The first thing Trump do, fight the pandemic team. My mama died from COVID. So I take that kind of serious. So when I sit here and I hear a lot of folks talking about the pandemic, I don't like talking about it because I get emotional, but I'm going to go on to what the next person said about January 6th.
Yeah.
And he literally stated that Trump didn't direct them folks to go kill Mike Pence. Did he not understand? Folks died when them folks stormed the Capitol.
Wait a minute. Hold it. You're not saying that Trump told them to go harm Mike Pence. Now, he didn't do that.
Yes. National TV. Trump told that mob to go over there. He was going to meet them there. Trump never showed up.
That party, peacefully and patriotically, though. He did say that.
He said we were going to stop them from certifying this election. That's the reason why they was at the Capitol.
But you're saying that Trump told them to go bring harm on Mike Pence?
What else he said? Proud Boys. Hold on. Who in prison right now? Ain't the Proud Boys in prison? Why do you think they in prison?
Because they acted a fool there that day.
Who sent them down?
Trump didn't tell them to do what they did, though.
Trump specifically called them by name and told them to go over there. He was going to meet them there.
But he didn't say commit acts of violence, though, Maurice. He never told them to do that.
He said stop them from certifying the election. And what person was certifying the election?
I don't think he said what you're attributing to him. He didn't.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I'm not making shit up. He did say that.
Listen, I'm willing to criticize Trump where I believe criticism is due, but I think you're giving Trump credit for stuff he didn't do. Hold
up. And another thing y'all missed. What about the black officer that's redirected the mob the other way from keeping them from going in there to Mike Pence, where Mike Pence was? Why they were going to him?
Well, they were going wherever they could go. They were looking for Nancy Pelosi. They were looking for everybody.
No, they were looking for Mike Pence and Nancy. They were both in the same room.
That's not true. Because Nancy Pelosi was on the phone with Mike Pence telling him, don't tell people where you are and stay here. And they were not together.
They was in the same room.
No, that's not true.
The media ain't gonna put that out there. A reporter always put ice to the cake. They always put what they want to say to it to make it sell more, to make more money, to get more attention.
The January 6th hearings were clearly not on Trump's side. They were not trying to sell and all the stuff you're talking. They were not trying to do that. They were trying to get to the bottom of what happened. And if you watch the January 6th hearings, Pence and Pelosi were not together. I don't know where you're getting this stuff from.
So what all the black folk were on January 6th at the Capitol? Them wasn't that but some racist ass white folks.
It wasn't nobody. Yeah, it was only there was one or two black people there, and they got some of the longest sentences you can get. It wasn't a lot of black people there on January 6th.
My point. So another thing I want to get across, because I waited so long, I ain't going to be on that long.
All right.
But when that other guy came on there, I heard everybody keep talking about the pandemic. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm from Georgia. I'm living in Fulton County. I'm from Atlanta.
Okay.
We just had a high school shooting, Appalachia High School.
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Trump get on there and do his little photo op and all that bullshit. The governor, Kemp, he ain't did a damn thing. Since they want to sit on here act like they doing so, they might be helping the hurricane victims and all that. But not one damn thing they have done to these schools to make these children safe.
What do you recommend they do?
What I recommend?
Yeah.
Clear book bags. These these kids still going to school, not walking through metal detector. After the school don't be shot up, 4 people don't die. These folks still walking through the school with book bags not being searched, no metal detectors. So, as a governor of this state of Georgia, you have less to do anything.
I don't know if clear book bags is gonna do it, man, because some of these folks, I mean, like some of these folks are showing up with long rifles. I don't think.
What a lot of folks don't know, at that high school, it was 2 kids had the same name. The mom called the school and let the school know that her son had that gun in his book bag.
Right.
When they stopped the wrong child and took his book bag, and the one walked in with a book bag, no see-through, if it was clear, they would have saw it.
You're assuming if a person has a clear book bag, they don't wrap the pistol up in a napkin or so. You could be looking at a clear book bag. If you don't know what you're looking for, it might be
they searching book when you come into school. They collect the cell phones, all that when you come into school. Certain schools doing that in Georgia.
Okay.
But I'm saying for that school to just have a school shooting, 4 people to die, innocent people to die, you still, Nathan Deal, where name Kemp, you still don't have no safety measures in place for these kids going back to school. All y'all can offer is counseling.
Yeah. You're in America. Unfortunately, I don't know what I don't think we have the I don't think we actually really want to stop this stuff. I think we want to make sure the Second Amendment is protected. And as long as everybody has a right to own a firearm, I don't think you'll ever stop it. I don't think you'll ever stop it.
As a lot of Americans, a lot of folks don't understand why the government allows us to bear arms. Those arms supposed to remain in our house. Listen, yeah, they
in the house.
Yeah, because if any folks, any country like Russia, anybody get past our military, we supposed to use those guns.
So you're saying that we should only be able to bear arms as long as a firearm is in your house. You can't carry it on your person.
No, I'm not saying that. I said the reason why the government gave us that right to bear arms.
Okay.
The right is for American people. If these folk get past our army and our military, we got to come together and use the motherfuckers. Not on each other.
Yeah.
We using them on each other.
Well, that's kind of what's going. You're always going to get more of that because there's not likely to be many invasions. So, yeah, by the time somebody invades the country, you're going to be killed hundreds of thousands of Americans first. I got to move it on, though, Maurice.
And one more thing.
Real quick.
That other comment, that dude then, that he told me he wish Trump was dead and he wish he would have got shot again.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Neither do I.
He going to jail. He going to prison. That's all I got to say.
That ain't going to happen, Maurice. I got to go. That ain't going to happen, though. All right. Thank you, Maurice. By the way, I don't believe Trump's going to do a day. I don't believe Trump is going to be incarcerated. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't believe. Will G, MAGA are the people that would shudder at the fact that black is an airplane pilot. Shout out to Charlie Kirk. You say MAGA would not accept the fact that you could be a black person and an airline pilot? There's plenty of them at this point. I don't know if MAGA is that backwards. Wow. You think he says MAGA would shudder at the fact that black is an airplane pilot? Shout out to Charlie Kirk. 2024? You think MAGA's still like that? There's a lot of black airline pilots nowadays. Clinton handed Bush about 4.5% unemployment. Bush handed Obama 8% unemployment, and Obama handed Trump 4.6%, and Trump handed Biden 7%, and today it's at 3.9%. Well, the difference between all of those handoffs is the fact that when Trump handed off the country to Biden, everything was closing in the pandemic. So I think that you got to get Trump a little bit of a different judgment because of that. But I do believe that Trump received a good economy from Obama. I do agree with that. A black man flying a plane is terrifying to white people. Really? That's to tackle. So if a bunch of white folks get on a commercial airplane, and let's say in the cockpit is two brothers, you think it would be terrifying in 2024? I don't know. I don't know if we're still in that era. Maybe a few imbeciles, for lack of a better term, a few really intolerant bigots, but 2024, you think so? Damn. All right, now I see somebody says that's ignorant talk, says ambassador for SB New Jersey. I don't know. Like I said, 2024 is hard to imagine that. I do know back in the day, if a black nurse or black doctor walked in the room, there were bigoted patients that wouldn't even let the person deal with. But that was years ago. Nowadays, you don't hear that as much. I don't know. They're scared they're going to get flown to the hood. Who said that shit? Debo. He said they scared they're going to get flown to the hood. Oh my God. Let me go back to the bar. That's funny. All right, continuing on with the program. Scared they're going to get flown to the hood. Yikes. Go to one of my subscribers there, Pat Carlson. Good afternoon, Pat. Welcome to the program. Who wants to go to the hood? Well, a lot of people want to go to the hood. There's good and bad in the hood. Pat, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to say Trump is a joke when it comes to the hurricane. He went to Georgia and had people that were important to the relief effort build him a podium at bricks from a building that was a part of the disaster, from what I understand.
Is that for real? Damn.
For real. It showed that. All right, he gets on a mic and says that Biden wouldn't even basically give aid to these states that were hit with the hurricane.
He did say that, yes.
Yet the governor of Georgia, where he was at, which, might I add, is a Republican, got on the cameras and said that Biden immediately called him up and offered him assistance, and he said that they had what they needed.
Why do you think Trump would say that? Because I see folks are pointing out that it's real easy to fact check.
Because it is the reason why is Trump is it's political with Trump. He's trying to make the Biden administration look bad. But look at this, and I mentioned this to you before. Trump tried to change a hurricane with a Sharpie pen.
That did happen.
Also,
hold on, before you go, hang on, before you go to that second point, I gotta ask what I often ask on the program: that you folks tap the screen, get the likes up to about 60,000. A lot of lazy thumbs in here helps out the algorithm, brings in more callers, viewers, MAGA. You know how it works. Tap the screen, support the program. Go ahead, Pat.
Also, if you think about it too, I believe, don't quote me on this, I could have the wrong name, but if I'm not mistaken, Hurricane Katrina hit Puerto Rico. And what did Trump do? He goes to Puerto Rico and throws them out rolls of paper towels.
Yeah, that wasn't Katrina. Katrina hit in 2005, but I do remember the hurricane.
Like I said,
yeah.
I was wrong with the name of the hurricane. You know, there's so many of them. It's hard to keep track.
Right.
But he goes to Puerto Rico, which is part of the U.S., and throws them out paper towels. Did Biden go and pull a stunt like that? No. Trump doesn't care. It's all political with him. Now let's go to the pandemic.
Hold on, before you go to the pandemic, you mentioned Trump with the paper towels. I think the goal of Trump, because that's what they're hammering Biden on, is Trump can get up there and say Biden didn't do anything, because there's no footage of Biden on the ground in North Carolina or Georgia. When Trump goes to Puerto Rico and throws paper towels, what he is trying to do is be caught on camera assisting the people in any way. He's trying to make sure he gets the footage out there. That way you can't say about Trump what Trump is saying about Biden, that Biden isn't doing anything because Trump has made sure he has gotten footage. That's why I think he did that.
Okay, so let's look at that. What good is paper towels going to do those people in Puerto Rico? Not a damn thing. Trump, yeah, he went out there. But let's look at it this way. Biden is so damn old, he can't go to these places. He's better off sitting his ass in the office and, offering aid, getting the aid there.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Yeah, he would be better off there. Let Kamala,
Think of the punctuation symbol, a comma, and then say la, comma, la.
Kamala.
Yeah.
Kamala.
Yep.
Send her out there, let her go and do that kind of stuff. He can sit his little butt in the office and handle things from the office. He's too old to be out there anyhow. I mean, Trump's too old too, but that's neither here nor there. But now let's look at the pandemic. Okay, so like what was said earlier, Obama knew that a pandemic was on the horizon, and he set up precautionary efforts, and Trump destroyed it as soon as he got in office. They're saying, well, Trump wasn't a politician. That's why he would make such a good president. Well,
Right.
The economy, once again, the economy had nothing to do with Trump. That had to do with Obama.
I don't like that, Pat. And I say this all the time, is that I don't like judging Trump on the economy from a skewed standpoint of the only grade I'm going to give him is a bad one. In other words, the economy was good when he took office from Obama, so I'm not going to give him any good grade. I'm going to give the good economy grade to Obama, but if he fails, then we're going to give him a bad grade. So the only grade he can get is bad. That's not fair.
I would agree with you. Trump maintained the economy. He didn't boost the economy. The economy was already there. He didn't boost it. And then they're trying to blame Biden for the economy crashing. It wasn't Biden that crashed the economy. It was the pandemic, which Trump, once again, Trump is kind of responsible. Like you said, he said, oh, it's going to be gone. It's nothing more than cold. It's gone.
You break it up.
Cases. It's gone. It's gone. We've got this covered.
Yeah. Let me ask you, based on your judgment of Trump, do you believe he did anything?
Also,
Pat, you're breaking up. Are you there?
do I believe he did anything to what?
Do you think Trump did anything good while he was in office?
I'm here. As far as what?
Anything. Did he do anything good for the country at all? You're pretty critical of Trump. Did he do is there any good attributes of his presidency?
My God, not a whole lot. Like I've said, I don't care what president you put in office. They're going to create some good. They're going to create some bad. I think Trump did more bad than good. It's like, for example, the pandemic. We don't really know how many deaths Trump himself caused. By him saying things like, well, if you inject a disinfectant, won't that kill the virus? You know, they can spin that any way they want. But let's face it, there are idiots out there in this world that would think, oh, maybe that'll work, and either inject it, drink it, whatever. The same thing with the ultraviolet light, you know. When you are in that kind of a position, everything you say is critical. Everything.
So then let me ask you this. Knowing that in the Middle East, most of our adversaries and hell, even a bunch of our allies are not big, they're not big fans of women's equality. Do you believe Kamala Harris, considering that there is a regional war breaking out in the Middle East now, you believe Kamala Harris is the right person for the job?
Well, I believe that she's better than Trump. Let's face it, they say how good Trump did because he talked to, Putin and North Korea and such like that. He was, in my opinion, this is strictly my opinion, he was talking to them about how to communize this country. Why else would every communist dictator Trump refer to as good people?
What about
when he talked to Putin, he kicked out the note taker. Why? Because he didn't want the American people to know what he was really talking to Putin about.
So you sound like you see Trump as a genuine bad guy.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Let's face it, he's already said that on day one he'll be a dictator. And do you honestly think, with what happened on January 6th, do you honestly think or believe that he would, if he did become a dictator on day one, and he says, only for day one, do you honestly believe he would keep it to 1 day? Hell no.
Well, but people are going to say that the left, liberals, are attributing all of these bad qualities to former President Trump, and then they ask the question, well, he was president for 4 years. He didn't do any of that stuff. So what makes you think he's going to do all this wild stuff? He was in office, and he didn't do any of that stuff.
Because, why do I believe that? I'll tell you why I believe that. Because the first 4 years, he was setting up for this shit.
Oh.
Then he got ousted. He got ousted because of the American people voted him out. And yet he continued. He pulled a dictator move and tried to keep in power. He tried to...
He's breaking up.
If he gets in that White House, do you honestly believe that if he gets back in White House, he won't continue to his rhetoric and continue to try to keep in power?
I'm not for sure, but Pat, I'm going to have to move on. Your signal's breaking up, so some of that you were not legible. Hopefully you're wrong about Trump. You're not the only one that believes that, certainly on the left, but I do got to move it on. Your signal was breaking up toward the end, but Pat, always welcome back, man. All right.
Thank you.
Anytime. All right, we're moving on. He can only get 4 years, says a magnet. Hopefully, but keep in mind, there are people that believe that if Trump gets in there, he's going to try to change the system so he can do more than one term. So Trump is blocking his connection. Cool Ed, I like the name, by the way, says Trump is blocking my connection. I hope not. Or are you talking about my caller? Tap the screen. 70,000. We can make that happen. Today, by the way, tonight is debate night. Who do you think is going to pull it off? Tim Walz, J.D. Vance? What questions would you like to hear asked of the vice presidential candidates? I'm going to be on here for a little bit, but I'm going to break it out because I do want to see the vice presidential debate tonight. He wants some of what Obama is having. I think a lot of people do. Real quick, I have been telling people these. I have been telling people this. God saved us the first time. Michael Rowe, look, you put my Christianity on display here, but my point is this. Why would God save us from a pandemic that he didn't have to create to begin with? If God was in the saving business, you wouldn't have pandemics. Why would you? I just want to leave it at that. If God was in the saving business, we should have never had it happen to begin with. Walt's gonna have to step it up because Vance is good, says Des and D. Yeah. Maurice Dunn says man created it. You know how many pandemics we've had, Maurice, from smallpox to the Black Plague and things like that, even before medical science was advanced? Man ain't created all of that stuff. Man has not created all of that. Tim, the quality of entertainment is 100%. Thank you. Sid, appreciate that. Somebody who likes the program. By the way, if you guys do favor this type of programming, it is always uncensored. We are always MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. That's how free speech works. So you're going to hear comments you may favor and others you think are completely idiotic because everybody gets a chance to speak. You don't have to worry about anybody being hesitant to let you through because you're critical of the commenters or you're critical of the hosts. Damn it, you get the right to do that here. If you enjoy that type of programming, follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday is when we're here. Wow, Will G. Damn. Will G, for that type of shit, I do make the shorts. Ask your question. I'll create a whole short for you for that. Strange Theory. What do you think about Trump destroying NATO? In my opinion, that's a disaster. But his question continues. What do you think about Trump destroying NATO? Yeah, Pat. Thank you for the hat mustache. What do you think about Trump destroying NATO, letting Putin have his way just to create Eastern European refugees seeking asylum to compete with all the brown people at the border? I don't know if I quite get the second half of that. First of all, I'll just tell you right off the bat, I think anybody disbanding NATO is a horrible idea. You ever heard of the phrase, united we stand, divided we fall? Just like people talk about seceding in America, breaking up the country. You are always stronger united. You break up, then you're only as strong as the strongest entity. To me, breaking up makes sense. Same thing with NATO. Why would you break up a union like that, where all of these nations have the mindset that an attack against one is an attack against all? If NATO is disbanded, you can assume the weakest countries in NATO are probably going to be the first to be likely conquered or whatever the case. Why would you want to get rid of NATO? Yeah, we're the strongest country in NATO, but it's not like we don't benefit from being part of NATO. Just because we got the money and the weapons don't mean, because at the end of the day, you need bases, you need surveillance, you need access to being able to fly over other people's countries. You may need access to their, what do you call it when you fly over somebody's country? I can't think of the name right now. I'm having a bite moment. Airspace. You may need access to the, we have had wars before where we couldn't use airspace that may have made the operation easier. You get all of that when you're a member of NATO. America's the only country on earth that has bases on all 7 continents. If we didn't have NATO, that probably would go away. That helps us become the nation we are. So getting rid of NATO to me is dumb. I don't know why folks favored that when Trump was talking about it. To me, that was a bad idea. Letting Putin have his way just to create Eastern European refugees. I don't believe that creating, Ukrainian refugees or any of that is part of the process. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not a fan of what Putin did with the Ukrainians, but I understand it. And here's the point. The Ukraine has been flirting with America, flirting with the West. I don't want to say to become a member of NATO, but certainly to become an ally. If Canada or Mexico during the late 70s and 80s was talking about potentially becoming a member of the Soviet Union, I'm talking about Canada or Mexico, countries on our border. If they were talking about becoming a member of the Soviet Union, we would be acting just like Vladimir Putin is acting. We would be threatening to attack Canada or attack Mexico. You think we would be okay with Soviet bases in Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, where they could get access to a lot of radio traffic and every damn thing else in the United States? We would act like Putin too. So it kind of is a measure of do as I say, not as I do. We're criticizing Putin for what he's doing to the Ukraine, but we would do the same shit. I think we all are aware of the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's the exact same thing. Cuba was trying to become part of the Soviet Union, allowed them to put missiles in their country. We were willing to go to war with Cuba to stop that shit. Russia's willing to go to war with the Ukraine to stop that shit. So do as I say. A lot of times America, we tend to think our shit don't stink. And it's okay when we do it, but it's a problem when somebody else does it. I think that's a rap song. But yeah, I mean, I don't believe in getting out of NATO, but I don't believe what Putin is doing is doing it to create refugees. Even though there's a whole lot of Ukrainian, I think Poland, the nation of Poland, is taking in 2 million refugees. America is not taking any Ukrainian refugees to any major number. It's people in that region that are doing it. But I also believe that Trump is essentially an ally of Putin. My opinion, maybe you disagree, but I do believe that Trump is somewhat of an ally to Vladimir Putin. So if Trump gets elected, I think Russia will suddenly start doing a lot better in that war. Let me go back to the box, and I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Should have been around 80,000. A lot of lazy thumbs in here, just bad programming, I guess. I don't know. But you guys can tap the screen, get the likes up. Real quick in the comment section, we have a problem of telling other countries what to do. And I think with BRICS, it just showed how many we pissed off. Yeah. Because it's one thing to tell countries what to do when you're looking out for those countries. But telling countries what to do, and they cannot depend on you during their time of despair, they don't give a fuck about you. So I do agree with you on that. You have the biggest, you have the biggest crowd. The biggest, says Mike. I'm assuming you're talking about Trump, talking about his crowd size. I don't know why the man gets involved in that shit. I do not know. Continuing on with the program. Thank you for that, Will G, by the way. That question and that super chat. Continuing on with the program. We'll go to, I don't know what I'm looking at there, but Holiday 1360. Good afternoon, Holiday. Welcome to the program. So,
hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, doing really good. I'm asking a question now. Trump stated that Biden was leaving the residents of North Carolina and Georgia hanging, not doing his duty during the middle of a hurricane. But the governor of Georgia corrected that right away. Why do you think Trump would suggest that Biden's not helping folks when the governor is saying he is?
Yeah, that's just Trump 101. Say something that's untrue and hope that enough people believe it that it'll help him in the polls or help him in the election. I mean, let's think of the lies this guy said over the years. Remember, he knew good and goddamn well that Obama was born here. He got up on, I can't remember what show it was. I'm going to say for the sake of argument, it was Morning Joe. He goes, hey, we have people over there in Hawaii looking up Obama's birth certificate, and you can't believe what they're finding. So when he was on the threshold of being elected as the Republican nominee, what does he go up there and say? Obama is a citizen. So he whatever he can get to give him some kind of, I don't know, approval or whatever you want to call it, he's going to say he's full of shit. He's full of shit.
But what about, okay, I get you're saying that Trump is full of shit, but what about the fact that folks say under Trump, folks could pay their groceries, their 401ks were doing better, they could afford to put gas in their car. I get the full of shit part. But what about the fact that people believe the economy in the country was running smoother under Trump?
There's a certain segment of people that are going to believe that anything he says is good. You got to remember, next time somebody comes up here and says that, just like Julio's, uninformed ass, ask him what policy.
Julio gets a lot of attention. Go ahead.
Yeah, God bless him. But what policy did Trump have that made the economy so great? What Trump policy made food so low? He inherited a good economy. He inherited some good things. There was just a certain amount of people when he went up there, just like he's doing now, because the economy isn't bad now. He's going up there, we're doing terrible. I'm kind of a political junkie. I get up real early in the morning and listen to C-SPAN. You cannot believe some of the shit I heard. They almost make it sound like we're in a depression or something like that. Anybody that wants a job can get a job. We have worldwide inflation. It didn't just hit America. So anybody to say, oh, we're in such shambles, is just full of shit. They're just alarmists. And that's all Trump is saying. He's going to say whatever fits to try to get himself elected, because he knows if Trump don't get elected, I know you said earlier, Handsome, that this guy isn't going to go to jail, but I beg to differ. If he doesn't get elected, that's his ass.
You really see Trump doing? You really see Trump doing actual jail time?
I see him. I'm not saying he's going to do a long time, but yeah, he's going to. There's going to be more consequences for him. Yeah, I do think so. They got him dead to rights on the case with the documents. They got him. I'm pretty sure they're going to do a good job and try to make the case on the January 6th stuff. And isn't he getting sentenced right after the election?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to go to jail for that, but I think the documents, Kate, got him. Yeah.
What about, for the sake of the country, a calm, cool, collected, well thought out Kamala Harris decides to give him a pardon?
Well, that's her decision. If it's best for the country, hey, let's go forward, give him a pardon. He leaves in shame. Him and his goddamn supporters go down and burn, and they're basically a skid mark on history. So the hell with them. I mean, everybody know. Look,
you don't seem to like MAGA very much.
No, you got to remember, I'm an ex-MAGA. I don't know if you remember. I voted for the god-awful man in 16 and 20. And then I even lost. Remember, I don't know if you remember this story, Handsome, but I lost a piece of what because of MAGA. I had a woman that basically put it in my face. Look, he said these sexualized things of his daughter and this and that. He told some 10-year-old girl that when she's older, he's going to date her 10 years from now. I said, no, he didn't say that. The girl put her panties on and left and didn't send me the video. It was horrible.
So you lost a piece of ass because the girl you were about to hit got mad that you were supporting Trump because she thought Trump was
She still won't call me back. Everybody knows that if you go to certain spots, because I live out here in California, and I love good barbecue, but it's unfortunate to get really good barbecue, you got to go to certain places, and these certain places are kind of Trump country. And you go in there and you see some of these women, those country and Western girls, they're kind of thick, they got some hips and some ass on them. I'm not going to admit that I'm not a Trump supporter to them, because if Sally Sue is looking for BBC, I'm your guy, but I'm not going to admit otherwise that they're not going to get it.
Let that be a lesson. DJ Julio, who's getting a lot of attention, by the way, thank you for that. Let that be a lesson to all of the guys watching. Most of my audience is men, by the way. Don't talk politics before sex. You are correct, because it happened to me some years back too, that I was about to hit some, and when she found out my political view, she didn't want to do. Yeah, don't talk politics until after you get the ass. Don't do that. That's funny though.
And you can't even do it then. What if it's good? You want a second helping? You better not talk it then.
Yeah.
You just keep your views to yourself, just like it worked. You put it on you. Like I said.
Oh my God, that's the funniest shit I've ever heard of. Wow. So you. hey, but all in all, hey, maybe Kamala's really going to win this thing. I mean, I look at the polls on a daily basis and, a couple days basis, and she's serious, man. She's serious. And I didn't think that America was ready for a female president, but Mexico. Wait. But is America ready for a female president, or is America ready to get Trump out of there? Because are they voting for Kamala Harris, or are they voting against Trump?
It's a little bit of both. There's a certain amount of people that are mad because Hillary didn't get in, and they be damned if they're going to make that mistake. And there's a certain amount of people that are they call it rhinos and Republicans, and they're not going to vote for him no matter what. You got to remember, during the primaries, there were 20% of Republicans that wouldn't vote for him. We're still going for Nikki Haley. Where do those people go? They're not coming back to him.
Yeah.
This is all about a state to state thing. I don't think he's going to win Pennsylvania. I don't think he's going to win Michigan. If he doesn't get those, that's his ass.
I think the swing states that he's pretty much certain to lose is Governor Whitmer, Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan for sure. I don't think he's going to win Wisconsin. Pennsylvania could be a struggle, but I definitely believe Wisconsin.
Shapiro, you mean with Shapiro over there, the way they think of Shapiro, he's not going to win. He's not going to win those 19. I think we're going to either see a real bad landslide, or maybe Trump's still going to win. But I think she's going to beat the hell out of him. I mean, let's be honest. She's looking sensible at this point. She looks more like a leader. He gets up there, lies. oh, well, this and that and those and these. And then, you know,
You really, but wait.
It's easily proved.
You're saying she's looking more like a leader. How many times do you need to hear I was born in a middle-class family? She's not answering questions. She's not taking interviews. Are you really sure she's looking that way?
She took interviews. Look how it's going for him to take an interview. Remember that interview we did the other day? Hey, how are you going to keep our jobs over here in the auto industry? Well, you know, they didn't give me the Man of the Year award, and I had a colonoscopy. And, you know, I'm impotent. He went so many goddamn different directions. Do you really think that man looks like a leader? And is it just me, handsome? But have you guys noticed he lost a step? He's talking a little slower. He's talking, you know, he seems a little more incoherent. There's something up with him. Seriously.
Well, the man is under a lot of stress. I mean, somebody's trying to take his life twice. He's dealing with all sorts of court cases. And, of course, he is aging. I mean, he's almost 80 years old. He does have a lot going on. I'll give Trump credit for the simple fact of a lot of people, including Joe Biden. Let's take Joe Biden 3 years ago, because I think that's about the age difference between him and Trump. Joe Biden couldn't manage Trump's schedule 3 years ago. He couldn't travel as much as Trump, all of those rallies. I mean, Trump, for the most part, love him or hate him, he has a lot of energy for a man that age. I mean, he's able to do a lot in a 24-hour period.
Is it energy? What does he be doing when he be doing that sniffle thing? And he be, you know, and he's breathing like that. Is it really? I'm just saying. I don't know. But there's something going on. The dude has lost a step. He's not talking as fast. He's losing his train of thought. You know, Laura Loomer talking about he wasn't the man he was a couple weeks ago. It's bad. It's bad, you know.
I mean, he is,
you know, but hey,
he is 78, so.
No, but yeah, then we shouldn't have a guy that old running for president. The fact doesn't matter. Then on top of it, he doesn't want to hit her. He doesn't want to have another debate with her. Come on, that just looked terrible.
Yeah, he's not going to have a debate.
Looked terrible.
He's not going to have a debate. All right, Holiday.
All right, talk to you soon.
Always a pleasure.
Right.
Thank you. And he said, what is he doing when he's sniffing? Is he indicating that Trump might be doing cocaine or something? That's what I heard. Will G, I'm saying, what if Trump wants Putin to recreate the Eastern Bloc? What? And have all those refugees like they did in World War I and II? I don't see the benefit of the refugees part. I don't get that. Why would Trump or Putin be interested in deliberately creating refugees? Now, if you're going to use them for free labor or slave labor or something, I suppose, but I do believe Putin might be interested in recreating the Eastern Bloc. I do believe there's a possibility that Trump would be okay with helping him do that. I'm not close to that, but I don't know. I don't get the refugee part and have all those refugees like they did in World War I and II. I mean, because refugees, that's what we're dealing with here in America. The asylum seekers, the Haitian immigrants, legal or illegal. I'm not even going to go into legal or illegal immigration. The problem is, like I said, legal or illegal. Folks bring their cultures and languages and beliefs, and they can change a nation. So I can't see where Putin, because keep in mind, even though America is a very diverse country, Russia is mostly all white. Russia is mostly an all-white country. I don't know if they want all the refugees. I don't know if Russia would want something like that. I don't know. Don't know if that's where you're going with that, but I don't know about the refugee part. How many hours a day do you spend in your car? Most of it, says Phil. My day job. I drive a lot. For my day job. So I'm in the car the majority of an 8 to 10 hour day. So I live in this motherfucker. Go continue on the program, which is why I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen for the man in his car. Get the likes up to about 80,000. How many folks are old enough? The man with the yellow hat, Curious George, the man in his car. How about that? The man with the red hat. How about that? Let me continue on with the program. For slaves, they will, says Kuwait. Yeah, refugees in the form of using them as slaves. Yeah, I can see that. That's sad. I hope Trump ain't trying to do nothing like that, or Vladimir Putin. Because you're basically saying they're trying to reinstitute slavery. That's dark. Man, that's dark. All right. They wanted to be part of Russia. You all need to start learning about the Ukraine and what parts of Russia because they were originally from Russia and they speak Russian, so they wanted to sign with Russia. Most of the Ukrainians, ambassador of SBN or whatever that says for New Jersey. To me, that's a propaganda talking point. I don't buy that Ukrainians wanted to be part of Russia. I don't believe that. I don't believe they wanted to give up their sovereignty and become part of Russia. I know that's being said in right-wing circles. People tend to be proud of their own damn nation. They don't want to be swallowed up by Putin, for instance. Putin's a dictator. Even in that damn region, they know that. Why would Ukrainians want to be swallowed up by a country that is ran by a dictator? Now, they already had a hell of a lot of corruption in the Ukraine. That's why they got rid of their other president or leader, and they got Zelensky, because he was supposedly going to get in there and help end some of the corruption. Why would you want to be swallowed up by another damn country that's as equally corrupt? Now, in the comments, you stated that they were somehow they requested it or what. I saw one of your comments, but let's just say this. To make a point, you can find people in any country that'll say what you want. I mean, you got this guy over in, what is it, North Carolina, the lieutenant governor, a black guy, calling for slavery to be reinstituted. How many black people in America want slavery back? But to make a point, you can put him on TV. You can find somebody in any country that'll say something that favors your point. When we invaded Afghanistan, they were able to find Afghanis that wanted America over there. Same thing in Iraq. You can always find some fools in a country to say what you need them to say. So when you say look it up, because I see them in the comments say, well, look it up. Yeah, of course you can find people to say that. You can find people during the Martin Luther King era that wanted Martin Luther King to stop marching and leave things the way they were, that were black, that wanted that. You can always find somebody to say something that's controversial or that might not be in their best interest. That don't mean that that's the popular opinion, though. Looking in the comments, slavery started with one black guy. They wanted to make his friend a slave. What? G. Cali, you said slavery started. What? How do you know that? I mean, just about every country on earth damn near has a history of slavery. How do you know the origin of slavery? How do you know that? I don't believe that. Let me continue on with the program. Slavery started with one black guy. Wow. All right. And what was his name? Tyrone? How do you know that? Looking in the comments, it's South Koreans that want to reunite with North Korea. Yeah, they do, but they don't want to reunite with North Korea if it means being swallowed up by Kim Jong-un. So, there's a hell of a lot of black people that want to understand their culture and their heritage. That don't mean I want to go be relocated to Ghana. You're a cool man. Thanks for casting. Thank you, SPR Dave. Thank you, folks that are tapping the screen. Going back to the box, continuing on with, speaking of Tyrone, I think I better call Tyrone Troop. All right. Happen to use the term Tyrone, and there's a Tyrone in the box. Good afternoon, Tyrone. Tyrone, are you there? Okay, he's there, but he's not there. So we'll continue the program on. Real quick in the comment section. Nobody forced Africa to sell their own people. That ain't true, Dorothy Loves. I don't agree with that. I do believe that when the slave trade began, at least the American slave trade, and they went to Africa to get slaves or whatever, I don't believe the folks that sold their citizens into slavery had a choice. When they showed up on the shores with gunpowder, cannons, and advanced weaponry, we came over to get 400 slaves. You can either give us 400 slaves and take this as a token of our appreciation, or we can get off the boat and get them and maybe put you on the boat too. I don't think they had a choice. I don't buy into that. You said nobody forced Africa to sell their own slaves and their own people. there's a ton of money to be made by the slave trade. I don't think they came over there to take no for an answer or come back home empty-handed. I think they were going to come on with slaves, whether some chief or tribal leader gave them slaves or not. They were coming home with some people. It's as simple as that. Looking at the comments, that's what they teach in schools. There's no way that was done as a peaceful negotiation. You either do it or we do it for you and may include you. First slave owner in the United States was Anthony Johnson. First slave owner in the United States was black, but you will ignore this text, says G. Cali. I don't know the relevance of that, though. I mean, you're bringing up, suggesting, this is what G. Kelly says, the first slave owner in America was named Anthony Johnson. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, as an African American during the slave trade, you had zero rights, zero. So you're a slave owner, you have your own farm and all of this in a country that gives you no right to own property or anything. How does that work? If you were an African American that owned slaves and somebody white showed up to your farm and just took some of your slaves, which would cost a fortune, no law out there is going to stop them. How could you be a black person and even own slaves? They had laws back then where blacks were not even, whites rather, or better yet, blacks were not even allowed to testify against a white person. So if any criminal activity was bestowed upon you as a black person by somebody white, the courts wouldn't even let you need a white ally to even try to get any justice. And even then you wouldn't likely get it. So how could a black person own slaves? Anybody white could just show up and take them. That doesn't make any sense. You would get zero relief in the court. That doesn't make sense. To own slaves, that means you own land. How could you be the first? Because you're saying the first. That means you're going back to what, the 1600s or so? You're telling me there was a black man that owned land in America in that era, and he had slaves, and the white people respected that. That doesn't make sense historically. In the comments, Will G, if Eastern Europeans lined up at the border, I believe conservatives would sing like a church choir and the border would open up like the gates of heaven. Remember the whole people coming from shithole countries? What Will G is saying is that he believes if Eastern Europeans, Czechs, Polish, what else is over there? Serbians, white people. If white immigrants, Eastern Europe, some of them are really good looking, by the way. If that's where you get your mail order brides from. If white immigrants showed up at the border, he believes that MAGA would be a lot more immigrant friendly. What do you guys think? What are you getting? He said Eastern. I see in the comments, Dorothy, you says Irish. Well, he said Eastern Europe, so that's not Irish. But he's talking about white immigrants. Ukrainians would be in that, Romanians. He's saying that the MAGA side of the house would be more immigrant friendly. I believe there's some validity to that. I do believe there's some validity to that. People tend to favor people who look like them. I do believe America is more critical to immigrants of color. Race, yes, but also it's a poverty issue. Wealthy people don't like poor people. It's just the way it is. Wealthy people, if we are a first world country, we are more favorable to other immigrants from first world countries because you feel like they're not here to take your resources and shit. DJ Julio, you've been getting a lot of attention on the program, Julio. I'll tell you this, when I migrated to Australia, a lot of you folks know I lived in Australia for several years. I used to get the same, and I was told this when I was in line at immigration. People told me, go back to your own damn country. I had somebody tell me that. You're here to steal our jobs and shit like that. When they heard me speak and realized I was an American, the treatment got a lot better. But when they thought I was from the continent of Africa or maybe Fiji somewhere, second, or better yet, developing or third world country, the treatment was more critical. Rich people don't like poor people. You ever seen the old movie Titanic? Leonardo DiCaprio sitting up there having dinner with the wealthy folks. Tell them you're an heir to a railroad fortune. They tend to like money. As long as they think you are in the club, they're nice. And then the lady spills the beans, Rose's mom, and says, no, he won his ticket in the poker game. But that is how it is. Rich people don't like poor people. So when you say Eastern European immigrants will probably get treated better than immigrants from south of the border, I believe that. I do believe that. All right, let me go back on with the program. Tap the screen. Get us up to 90. I'm asking a lot, I know. But tap the screen, get the likes up to about 90,000. Let him enjoy passing the short life. I don't quite get that. So classism on top of racism. Yeah, that is true. Classism is alive and well. That is true. Why does Barron still get Secret Service? Why does a former president's son? I believe Obama's daughters, don't they get some kind of protection? You want Barron not to get Secret Service protection after they tried to take his dad out? That's cruel. He should get Secret Service protection. I don't know why you want to leave Barron hanging, huh? Just let Barron get smoked, huh? All right, let me go back to the box. That's mean. That is mean. Blunt, 1969, in Puff Puff Pass fashion. Blunt, 1969. Barrett needs to sink or swim. No, you don't do that. You don't let the offspring of a former president roam around without. There's no denying that there are people who want the life of Trump. If you're president and you do controversial shit, certainly to the tune of Trump, I wouldn't be surprised if some folks want Obama taken out for the bin Laden. But Trump bragged about sending people pictures of their houses and killing people. There's a lot of international hits on Trump likely. You want to leave his son roaming around without protection? No, you can't do that. I think that would really be wrong. We'll continue on. The box is frozen for a minute. Why do so many MAGA want to take out Trump? That doesn't make any sense to me. Crazy how his own people turn on him. I don't believe that. Why do so many MAGA want to take out Trump? And that came from Trump's Greasy Nussy. That's the name, Trump Greasy's Nussies. I don't believe MAGA want to take out Trump. I think MAGA wants to re-elect Trump. There are never Trumpers out there that don't like Trump. Apparently, the guy who tried to put the hit out on Trump's life or take Trump's life on the golf course was a former voter for Trump. But I don't believe that a large portion of MAGA wants to take Trump out. Here we go. In 1619, 20 Africans came in on a ship called the White Lion and sold legally in Port Comfort, Virginia. I don't know what you're saying here. In 1619, 20 Africans came in on a ship called the White Lion and sold illegally in Port Comfort, Virginia. Okay, is that when the slave trade began? I don't quite get what you're saying there. G. Kelly, what you said is bullshit, and I can prove my assertion. Yeah, I don't buy it that the first slave owner in America back in the 1600s was black, and because you couldn't own property back then. Women couldn't own property. I don't even think white men that did not own property were treated less than everybody. I mean, you had to be white, male, and owning property to even vote. A black man owning slaves on the American continent in the 1600s? No way I believe that. I don't think you'd be safe. The white man would just come take your shit. Nobody's going to enforce it. That doesn't make any sense to me. Another thing, the exception is not the rule. In that too, and that there's a little bit of that too, that if there was a black man that owned slaves, he was one of the only guys that was doing it. That doesn't make sense though. There's no way in hell white America in the 16 fucking hundreds would respect a successful black businessman, because that's what a slave owner was. What's going on that farm? Okay, so you got slaves. Are they picking crops, picking cotton? You're going to tell me the black slave owner is selling the cotton into the local town and they're just buying it from him and all of that, doing business with a black man? None of that historically makes sense. It just doesn't. It happened. That's a part of history. You just don't know your history. Torrance, I'll respond to that. In regards to black men owning slaves, as he says, it happened. It's a part of history and you don't know your history. Let's be clear about something. Up to at least probably damn near 1980 in America, all of the history books you read in schools were published and written, authored by white folks. Black people were not writing history books back in the 1950s and if you went to school, all of your books back in those eras was written and published by white people. The government that dictates what can be taught to kids, all of that was by white people. Why am I bringing this shit up? Because when people say, well, you don't know your history, it ain't because black people taught it improperly. Why don't I know that? Blacks did not control how history was being taught. So you're going to tell me blacks were doing all this great shit, owning slaves and all of this, and the whites just completely omitted it from history? That's where you need to find your problem. That's who you need to go blame. Because black people aren't the reason why it ain't in the damn history book. They didn't write the books. So if you're going to point it out, then go back and talk to those who were whitewashing history. Now, I'll be clear. I don't buy that blacks were doing all this shit, but I will say this. Let's give them credit and say that blacks were doing that. Why wouldn't we know about it? Well, once again, racism is going to rear its ugly head, because during most of America's history, up to about 1970 at least, we wanted to portray black people as incapable of holding roles in leadership, incapable of managerial positions. Blacks were meant to be factory workers and all of that shit, hotel cleaners and, low roles. That's why even in the military, you couldn't have a high ranking position of leadership. Blacks were mentally incapable of those roles. So you're not going to put that in the history book, because if you tell people that you can go all the way back to the 1600s and here's a black man who was managing several slaves, successfully running the business and making money, it goes against the whole white supremacist narrative. Because it shows, yes, a black man can do all of this shit. So even if what you're saying is true, it's not going to be in the history books due to racism trying to portray blacks as incapable of holding such a role. We can't tell people that there's a black man out here with his own damn farm and he's managing a bunch of Negroes and they're doing their own thing and making it happen successfully. We can't let that get out. We've told people these folks don't have the right mentality to be leaders. So if you want to say or complain why people don't know their history, how about you start with that? Even if you're right, and I think you're wrong. Continuing on with the program, though, we can go to the library and city halls and research a lot of untold history. Yeah, you sure can. You sure can. If you're in the right city and they don't remove those books from your fucking library, some places don't want that shit out. I've been finding out about indigenous people, and it was white people in slavery via rowboats. Then Africans and Euros came in unison. Like I said, it's really challenging when it comes to history, because history was predominantly taught in America by one group of people, the folks who settled in this country, defeated the Native Americans and colonized everybody else, and they wrote history. And I think it's safe to assume they didn't tell the truth. They didn't write history from a standpoint of being accurate. They wrote it from a standpoint of American exceptionalism and white supremacy. So a lot of things you couldn't tell people because it goes against their narrative. Mobile RV. Under law, white is defined biblically as an alignment and tournament with a higher authority, natural God. Black is ignorant and evil. Wow. I believe that. I believe that some folks can read the Bible and religion and come up with that. He says, under law, white is defined biblically as being aligned in tournament with a higher authority. Natural God is black and is natural, but the actual God he's saying is black, is ignorant and evil. That's another reason why I kind of often have a strain from religion, is because a lot of our darkest portions of our past are deeply rooted in people's interpretation of religion. I just posted a video earlier today it's in black and white. It's from the 1960s. I'll get back with the actual show, but real quick, the video's back from 1962, and the woman was arguing against giving black civil rights, and the reporter asked, it was an older white woman. The reporter asked her, why you don't believe blacks should be equal? And she said no. And she started saying, the studies or something like that shows that. And he asked her, where did you get that from? And she said the Bible. She actually said the Bible. Anyhow, going back to the box and tap the screen, we might be able to get to 100,000. We might. Yep, religion gives folks a reason to hate. I don't think there's anything on earth that has created more deadly conflicts than religion. So when you say religion gives people a reason to hate, I don't think there's anything on earth that has created more deadly conflicts than fighting over who has the right God. Just for shits and giggles, I see you in the box. I'm gonna bring you back up because you got so much attention. you really draw the ire of my audience. They don't seem to think you know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, that's okay. I mean, everybody's open to their opinion. Their opinion doesn't bother me much.
Yeah. Now this is DJ Julio, folks. So do you
Debo?
Do you agree that the first slave owner was black?
It depends on when you're calling the first slave owner. I mean, Tim, even back in the days of Egypt and even further
in America,
in America, do I believe the first slave was black? No.
Slave owner?
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know who all came on the bus with Christopher Columbus and who was fighting against us Indians back in the day.
Yeah, I think it's insane. Like I said, there's no way in hell white America.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Why does that matter?
Because it dilutes the notion that only white people were abusing others. So just like the Irish slaves, there are certain things that I refer to as. Okay, hang on. Let me say this. I think there are certain things that I refer to as diversionary conversation, such as the Irish slaves, all lives or white lives matter. You will only hear this stuff after hearing the conversation about, nobody says all lives matter or white lives matter unless somebody is saying black lives matter. Nobody talks about the Irish slaves or blacks owning slaves unless somebody first talked about the African Americans being enslaved. So I think the whole purpose is to dilute the conversation.
Well, people probably don't talk about it. I don't know. I guess I can't say this, but with a guess. People probably don't talk about whites being slaves.
Why not?
Because it is absolutely against all social norm to show any white pain because of what we caused to the African and Native American and the Mexicans throughout history. We can't say I'm part white and part Mexican and part Indian. I can't say white power without getting in trouble. This is for education. This is, just
You are right. You are right. I get your point.
I can't say white power. I can't say native pride. I can't say brown power. But I can say Black Lives Matter and segregate everybody else that I just mentioned because of what happened in the 1800s, because of the horrible things Americans did to the African American culture and the Native American culture and the Mexican culture.
Now, let me interject and say this in regards to the I can't say white power. I think if more white people were vocal against those who have historically used the term to commit acts of evil, you would be able to say white power. I mean, we know that people have said that while being as hateful as possible. Why is that?
Well, see, we can take that, and I'm not really sure why that is, but we can't even say like white pride or I'm proud to be white without getting some kind of ridicule. And
because
I think that's bullshit.
But I'm gonna tell you why. Everything you just said, from white power to white pride, all of that stuff has been often said by hate groups, and the white community don't seem to have an issue with them doing it. It's just like people say the Confederate flag is about pride and heritage. Well, then why don't you speak up when people were using your pride and heritage to preach hate? So that way, when you want to say this stuff from a neutral position, it wouldn't remind people so much of all the hatred.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. I mean, we don't need to stop talking about it. And I had once mentioned in one of your lives that we just need to drop the history talk and focus on it until we're in college and we can decide to take that course. Yeah. But if we're going to have to talk about it, we need to find a different way to talk about it, similar to the way that you do with political stuff. These conversations are important. And yes, to Mr. Walter White, I am half Danish, and I am quarter Sistan Wahpeton Sioux, and I am a quarter Mexican. Yeah. Is that hard to believe? I come from South Dakota. Come on. I'm in Indian country.
Well, I will say this. I've seen what happened when Colin Kaepernick took a knee during the anthem. I've seen what happened when liberals burned the flag. But when I see Confederates, having a town hall where they stand on the steps of the Capitol building in some small town and they preach hatred, those same folks on the right that would show up for Colin Kaepernick or show up to protest the flag burning, they don't seem to have a problem when people use the flag of their ancestry to preach hate. So when people see the flag, that's the first thing come to mind is hatred, because very few white people seem to have a problem with it.
No, and I think I don't know that that's a correct statement, Tim. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I would venture to say that maybe you just don't hear it as much.
I hear more.
It's not celebrated, with people actually talking about where the Confederacy came from. I don't know a whole lot about it.
You ain't hear what I don't think you hear what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: for some reason, just about every hate group, from the Klan to the Aryan Nation, all of these groups, and I'm talking about, you go back 100 years and they were still using the Confederate flag as part of their symbols. Where are all of the folks that say this is not about hate, it's about pride and heritage? You never hear of a bunch of Confederate lovers clashing with hate groups defending the flag. You don't ever hear them show up. Why is that? Never?
Yeah, you're right. It's a good question. I don't have a good answer.
That's why we tend to think that flag is a symbol of hate. Because if you cared about your pride and heritage, we see people care about the U.S. flag. They show up and protest all the time. But these folks only show up when maybe people of color want to take the flag down or take a statue down. We know they know how to protest. But when a hate group shows up wearing the flag, they are remotely absent for some reason. They never show up. That speaks volumes.
Are you saying like mental war type shit? Like they're not going to the protests going against BLM? Is that what you're saying? Like, why isn't...
I'm saying I could have a mayor take down a Confederate statue in Baltimore somewhere, and I would get all kinds of Confederate supporters showing up to defend that statue. But I could actually be part of the Klan in rural Alabama somewhere appearing in town square saying none but hateful shit, and them same folks who defended their heritage on that statue will not come out and say a damn thing to me at all. They'll let me preach all kinds of hatred with the flag on my uniform. And they don't have a problem with that at all.
Listen, I'm not saying this is the answer, but the way that you just laid that out gave me something. Because you're welcome to your voice. You're welcome to your free speech. It's our First Amendment to be able to say that. If they're holding the American flag and they're preaching whatever their hate group is preaching, and you have that right or wrong, you have a right to say what you want to say. And I'm not saying that this is the answer. I'm just saying, if I had to rationalize it, that would be how I rationalize it.
Okay, nobody said anything about taking away your free speech. If the Klan
that's why they didn't show up.
No, if the Klan is in some town preaching hate while wearing the Confederate flag, they have the right to free speech to do that. But you also have the right to free speech to show up and tell them what they're doing is preaching hate. They don't show up.
I get you. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you on that one. Not on that part, because I don't really focus on all that shit too much.
I'll just say it like this. I'll just say it like this, Julio. It leads people to believe the defenders of the Confederate flag that don't want you taking down statues, don't want you banning the flag, are actually okay with people wearing the flag and preaching hatred. There's no reason not to believe they're not okay with it, because they never protested. And we know that they know how to protest.
Right, but why would you protest something you believe in?
Exactly.
You believe in free speech.
You just said it. Why would you protest something you believe in? You just admitted it. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Take half my statement. Take the full statement. They're okay with it because of free speech, because they stand by the First Amendment.
You can't take that. You can't take that shit back. You just said it. You can try. You ain't taking that shit back. You're right though. That's why they don't protest it, because they believe in it. All right, Julio.
What's the quiet part? Do you know what the quiet part is? It just said the quiet part out loud. What did I say that's the quiet part out loud?
The shit that I'm laughing about, because that's what they believe.
I'm caught up. Yeah. Listen, and it's not that they believe in the hate. They believe in the ability to go out there and preach your First Amendment right and do it however you decide to. That's my opinion.
If they believed in your ability to go out and say what you wanted to say, then they wouldn't fuck with Colin Kaepernick or flag burners, because they have a right to do it too. They show up to protest people exercising their First Amendment right when the person is doing something they disagree with. They don't show up when a person is exercising their First Amendment right to say they hate people of color. That's when they all of a sudden don't show up. That's why people believe that they're okay with it.
I'm with you now. And you're right. That does make it look like that. Like
yeah. And that's
like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. You know, I'm still voting Trump. I think he's the better choice, and I hope that through that, people will leave him alone so he can do his job and show us that he can be a good president and bring us together the way that he is doing right now on your awesome live that I come to every day and put my ear in.
Well, you're not gonna think this is awesome. Now you're part Native American, correct?
Correct. 1/4.
Name Barber said you a $5 Indian.
But that's fine. I don't know what a $5 Indian is.
That means you ain't a real Indian.
I wish I would. Hold on a second. I want to show you something. I'll show you how Indian I am. Not with my face, not with any of that.
I'm a $5 Indian.
There we go.
What am I looking at?
Here. I'm gonna cover up the important information.
Somebody said you like Elizabeth Warren. You Pocahontas?
Am I Pocahontas?
Oh, you guys are killing me. God damn, that's funny.
All right, there we go. I think it's coming now. Yeah.
I had to bring you back you always drive my damn audience wild, man.
Well, I didn't.
I had to bring you back you always drive my damn audience wild, man.
Well, I didn't see too many people in the box, and I thought, you know what? I'll try my luck. I was 1 out of 5, so winner.
All right. Appreciate it.
That'd be good.
Anytime. $5 Indian. That shit was funny. Real quick in the comments, Ed G says majority of Black Lives Matter speeches are racist hate speech. How many Black Lives Matter gatherings have you been to, Ed G? You said majority of the Black Lives Matter speeches are racist hate speeches. That would be the first question I'd want to know is how many of them have you been to? Because I don't even listen. I've been to a couple Black Lives Matter gatherings, and I'm able to play devil's advocate. You know, if I'm hanging around a black person that's saying all kinds of disparaging shit about white people, I don't have a problem admitting that brother's racist. Did you say majority of BLM speeches are racist hate speech? That is flat out false in my opinion. And listen, and the reason why I asked you how many BLM speeches you went to is because if you lean right, if you're watching OAN, Fox, and Newsmax, those are the only speeches they're going to show you. They're not going to show you peaceful Black Lives Matter gatherings where they're talking sensible, you know, maybe talking with cops, talking with other white people about how to make things more peaceful in town. They're going to show you burn this motherfucker down type videos. So when you said the majority of their speeches are hateful, yeah, my guess is where you're getting your media from. My guess is you've never been to an actual speech and you're getting your information from anti-BLM media. So, I can understand how you feel that way. And I'll tell you this, as somebody who watches Fox News a lot, I watch a lot of right-wing media. Been watching Fox 20-some years, right before the Iraq War broke out. It's about 20-some years. Because of how they do present things on certain topics, it's made me, personally, hesitant when I'm in black communities. Because all you see is the worst of black people. I go to Chicago and I'm hanging around in the hood. I have to sometimes remind myself, you grew up in this neighborhood. Why the fuck you so, anxious? Because I'm watching that shit and it shows that you can't trust black people, that they're dangerous. If you watch a lot of right-wing media, it can do that. Or it can do what you just stated. Leads you to believe that most BLM speeches are racist because that is what you see. Name Barber says she confused because two black people yelled at her once. Oh my God. So, because what do they call the whites? Karens. So two LaQuishas? She got yelled at by two LaQuishas. Let me go back to the box. You guys making me work overtime. All right, going back, continuing on with Mr. Walter. Good afternoon, Mr. Walter. Here in Florida, I'm not uncomfortable at all. In other states, yes. Depends on where you're at in Florida. All that drill rap there in Jacksonville, Florida. You ain't safe in Jacksonville. Mr. Walter, good afternoon.
Hey, Tim, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, just hanging out, getting ready to watch this VP debate. But yeah. I saw you holding. What did I get wrong? I saw you in there. What brought you here? Sincere.
First off, I just wanted to say to DJ the joke that I made about is he white or is he Indian? It was a Kamala reference.
Oh, all right.
He claimed one before, he claimed white now. It was a joke. I could care less, but anyway.
And real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to Sincere or Sincere72. Thank you for that underwater coral. Appreciate that. So you were making a joke in reference to how they've said that about Kamala Harris's race. She's not really black. She's not really this. You were doing the same thing.
Yeah. So no hate to DJ. Just wanted to make that joke. But I just wanted to make a couple points about immigration because you were on that subject earlier.
Sure.
First off, Eastern European immigrant former first lady. I mean, is she not an immigrant from Eastern Bloc?
She's a definitional one. Accent and all.
Next, I wanted to just go over a couple things. This is from the Wharton School of Business.
Trump's alma mater.
Yes, exactly. This is called, you can look this up on their website, The Effects of Immigration on the United States Economy. And this is just scroll to the conclusion, and if you indulge me, I'll read it. Economists generally agree that the effects of immigration on the U.S. economy are broadly positive. Immigrants, whether high or low skilled, legal or illegal, are unlikely to replace native-born workers or reduce their wages over the long term. It goes on from there. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's a short paragraph, but I encourage your listeners to look it up, read it, because it is true. This is not a left-leaning website or left-leaning group. These are economists, okay? You're going to hear a lot of scary shit from the Trump camp about, I mean, come on, you know, let's look at everything they're saying is fear-mongering, and the immigration system, you know, is currently,
you're talking about, you're alluding to,
not a problem.
Yeah, you're alluding to grievance politics.
Yes. The last thing I would make a point is, I live in Virginia, and Trump has a winery in Virginia. And when he was in office, he made a request to increase the number of immigrants that would pick the grapes at his winery. In 2017. You can look it up.
Illegal immigrants or legal immigrants, though?
I mean, I'm not saying they're illegal, but they apply for status. But listen, 80% of immigrants are legal with the status, like the Haitians, like the other ones that have, you know, permission to work here. You have to show that you can't hire the number of natural-born Americans. You have to show that you're going to pay them X amount of money. There are requirements to get that permission, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
You know, this whole thing has been twisted and people don't know the facts. So I would just say, look up the facts. That's all I want.
Yeah, the problem is they're portraying immigrants as coming here to commit acts of violence, and that's what's scaring everybody. Is that, I mean, even taking black jobs and things like that is one thing, but I mean, what did Trump say? They're come in your kitchen and slit your throat or something like that? He said the other day. I mean,
he's upping it since the first time, whether it's sending us the murderers, the rapists. It's clearly a replacement theory, dog whistle is what it is. And white people, let's say, face it, don't want to be, that's the thing that they are afraid of. They're replacing us. We're paying for them. It's all of these tropes that aren't true. And I don't, mean disrespect, but if you would learn the actual truth, you would understand that that's not really the case and things aren't as bad as they are portrayed by Trump.
You got my vote. Appreciate it, Mr. Walter. I'll go ahead and move it on there. Thank you for coming through. Anytime, man, anytime. And I'm similar. I'm in the same position as the last caller. I do believe that to make a point, Trump routinely exaggerates. Listen, at the end of the day, there's no difference between exaggerating and lying, but I do believe Trump is known for that. I got the best crowd. This watch I'm selling is the best watch. I mean, everything that he discusses is the biggest, best, and greatest. And when he's talking about things that are bad, it's the worst that has ever happened. So, and people buy into that. But the idea that immigrants are coming here to come in your kitchen and slit your throat and all this crazy shit, that stuff can get people killed, in my opinion, when you portray them as just being murdered. I mean, everything he says about immigrants is like really fucking dark. I mean, starting with rapists and murderers back in 2016 up to now, where he's talking about they're coming to slit your throat. I mean, he portrays them as really, really dark. That can get people. I can understand why the right is anti-immigrant, because if I believed that, I would be too. I would absolutely be too. And there's not many immigrants slitting the throats of Americans, eating cats and dogs. That's another one. There's not many immigrants in the town of Springfield eating cats and dogs. I think by now there's overwhelming amount of evidence to show that is not really happening in Springfield. That cats and dogs are being eaten in Springfield, Ohio. The woman never stated anything. So that's the first, like, well, how do you know she's Haitian? She's not talking. She's black. But how do you know she's not born in America? Why do you automatically assume she's Haitian? She's sitting outside, literally eating a cat. This actually happened. You see the police body cam. She's sitting outside eating a cat. Now, bunch of questions. In addition to how do you know she's Haitian and she didn't talk? Why does the police car says Canton on the back of it if this is happening in Springfield, Ohio? Clearly you got the wrong damn city. But also, people say, well, it's their culture. They eat these animals as part. They don't eat the motherfuckers raw. They don't sit down outside with a live cat and start biting into it. No culture does that shit. Treats a cat like sushi? Really? People are buying into that. Even the most primitive, the most tribal cultures use fire to soften up the meat. Nobody does that. Sits down with a live cat and just start biting into it. MAGA, I gotta say this shit with a straight face, but MAGA was sitting there to me as proof that they're eating cats and dogs. Just biting into a live animal. The human mouth and digestive system is not designed to eat live cats and dogs. Why do people believe this shit? It's hilarious. You actually believe somebody would take a Labrador or golden retriever and just bite into it, fur and all, just start chewing on it. That's the Haitian culture to some people. That shit is fucking hilarious. Not even using fire, huh? You know fire was invented back before the Middle Ages? We've been using fire to cook meat for centuries. It is not anyone's culture on earth to bite into live animals. Why are they sending me this fucking video? I couldn't stop laughing. The woman obviously is mentally ill. And she's not Haitian. She is not Haitian. She's not observing the culture of Haitians. She is simply mentally ill. She's sitting on the sidewalk, covered in blood, eating a cat that she had just killed. That's no one's on earth has that culture. Even the cultures that do eat these animals, skin them, they gut them, and they properly prepare them. They don't bite into live fucking animals. It is your boy, Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I do appreciate the 95,000. We almost got to 100,000. I hate to end a show like that, but it was hilarious that this guy sent me this video as solid proof that they're eating animals. Just bit into a live animal. Wow. As always, we will check out the vice presidential debate, and I might do a show later on tonight. Nevertheless, if not, we'll certainly talk about it tomorrow. I want to see who's going to win the debate between Walz and Vance. No, I didn't post it. Somebody asked me in the comments I did not post the video of the woman in Canton, Ohio that was caught by police eating a cat. No, I did not repost that. It wasn't. First of all, it's in Canton, Ohio. The police car clearly says Canton, Ohio, so it doesn't even fit the narrative that they're doing it in Springfield. It's the wrong city. That's why I stated that if people are eating cats and dogs, the video would be worth quite a bit of money. As a content creator who doesn't have a lot of money myself, I would fly out to Springfield, Ohio and pay somebody at least a couple grand, couple stacks. Novocaine, yeah, thank you for the hat and mustache. Appreciate that. I would fly out to Springfield, Ohio and at least give somebody a couple $1,000 to let me film them processing the cat. Let me see you take a live cat, gut it, and remove the innards and, the fur or whatever you do to cook it, season it, whatever. Let me record it and I'll give you a couple grand. You can wear a ski mask or whatever so your identity is not known, just like they do when they let you film people in crack houses and all of that shit. I know it's a crime. I'm not trying to put you on camera because at the end of the day, that video is going to be worth millions of views. How many people that support Trump, how much of MAGA has seen that Canton, Ohio woman? Probably millions of MAGA have seen that. trying to say that that shows that they're eating cats and dogs in Springfield. Imagine how many views a video that actually is filmed in Springfield would get. If that video has got millions of views, imagine one that's authentic. I would easily pay a few grand to get that. That video would be worth probably $100,000 or more, just from the amount of videos it would get. The fact that nobody has produced one shows you it's not happening there, because it is that valuable to get somebody on video that's eating a cat or a dog. It would be worth a lot of money. And you got 20,000 migrants, you should be able to get dozens of videos. You should easily, 20,000 of these people, and they're just all in sync, keeping it hidden. But the crazy lady on the sidewalk, she wasn't doing that. So that shows you she wasn't Haitian as well. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'll catch you tomorrow. Thank you also for you folks on YouTube. How many have seen the Haitian dog push-ups on the kitten? Haven't seen that one. Where's the bones to these critters? I ain't buying what that means. Voodoo is their religion in Haiti. Yeah, and also, to keep in mind, what they do in Haiti doesn't mean they're doing it in the United States. People keep, well, that's their culture. That don't mean they're doing it here. There's a reason why it's so damn hard to come up with video evidence, because there is none. It's your boy Tim, handsome liberal.